Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem: the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of "new balls please" seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish, and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point: the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. So Manchester City come from behind to beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. Would a major honour this season be the most impressive Pep iteration yet? Meanwhile, ahead of the first Tyne-Wear derby, who is it a bigger cup final for this weekend, Sunderland or Newcastle? Also today, should how to present yourself in the dugout actually matter? Iran versus Egypt. How will Infantino politic his way out of this one? Why wouldn't Salah and the Saudi Pro League be a good fit? Have Aston Villa sold Harvey Elliott a pup? And from midday we talk boxing with fight pundit Adi Oladipo. Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Somehow we've got ourselves to Thursday. Good morning.
They do fly past the weeks, don't they?
Mate, they don't have. Now, I pretty much predicted this, as no doubt you did. The talkSPORT darts trophy was won by Dean Saunders.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he pretty much cruised to victory again. Third year in a row for Dino. Well done to you, Dean. I heard you earlier on breakfast speaking well, and you performed well yesterday. Simon, I've got to say, sparing your blushes, we have a darts board in the green room, just yards from here, and I've watched you now and again. Mate, my money's on you next year. You should go in for it and win it.
I tell you who should win it is assistant producer Joe, because he's a really good darts player.
He's not.
I mean, I've beaten him a couple of times, but he's also beaten me a couple of times. And
Really?
when he gets going, he gets his own little darts out and gets all, professional about it. But he'd beat a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Hiding his light behind a bushel.
Well, he's got to be good at something. So maybe assistant producer Joe would do it. My money would be on you, my friend. I've seen you. Because...
Big game players, right? When it comes to the pressure.
Yeah.
Unlike Darren Bent, who folds like a cheap deck chair.
He folded, and you said that he would, and he did. There was a great crowd for that yesterday. It was highly entertaining, I must say. I was in here after the show speaking to a man I introduced you to, Piers Flynn, businessman from Glasgow, was down as a guest of mine yesterday. Had a look around the place. We watched it for a while. We listened to it. It was very entertaining, and I must say it was well put together. And Sean, the producer of Hawksby and Jacobs, did a great job. It was great, I must admit. Natalie Sawyer, it didn't work for Natalie on the day, Simon.
Oh dear.
She got up to the hockey and bottled it somewhat, but you have to do it for me next year.
Did Shaban not play? I mean, she's a bit too big time now. She's got her own shows. Does she not play?
Oh no. That's beneath her now.
Oh, is it?
She hosted it.
Indeed.
But
she could have shrieked at the hockey, couldn't she?
I understand, Simon. Andy Goldstein fell apart when he got up to the hockey, and he lost to Gabby of all people. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what you did last night, Simon, but I must admit, I watched Manchester City beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, so did I.
And they were superb, I thought.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the second half was a bit more of a contest where Madrid had some opportunities. Bellingham should have scored. Vinicius Jr. should have scored. Certainly should have scored. Yeah. But any result, I mean, the Bernabeu, any team that goes there and beats Real Madrid, irrespective of whether Real Madrid are in a current funk, is kind of irrelevant. They're still, you heard it from the previous president yesterday, that they believe that the European trophy is theirs. They believe that they founded the Champions League. To some extent, it's because England and Wolverhampton Wanderers at the time in the 50s said we're the best team in the world, and the rest of Europe didn't like it.
Yeah.
They pulled together a tournament, if you remember the origin of it.
Yeah.
But for Man City to go there and win is a good thing. It's a positive reinforcement of Man City's rebuild, which is the big thing that people are questioning, is Guardiola's ability to rebuild and to have some outcomes. But it's a group stage game, and you know, if Madrid are still in the group stages in terms of getting themselves through to the knockout stages, I still think Real Madrid will find their feet. The interesting thing is what happens to Alonso, because in Madrid land, in the self-important place of Real Madrid, they can't have this. They can't.
You know that part of the world.
I do.
The knives will be out. Won't they?
I mean, you know, the Madrileños are a certain breed, full stop, and they have a certain value of their football club, and they don't tolerate it. And I mean, this guy clearly a decent manager. Look what he did in his previous incarnation, but he's not finding it, and losing 2 games back to back, is not ideal.
But I'm glad, Simon, you made the point you made. Whatever the state of Real Madrid, this still remains a major European scalp, doesn't it?
Of course it does. I mean, on a different level, you look at the teams, and every time, we know that Man United is like the dead parrot out of Monty Python. It's an ex-parrot. It's an ex-Man United. So we know that when teams play Man United, they're not playing the Ferguson Man United or the side that dominated, but every time they beat them, there's a reaction in terms of, look at what we've beaten. So the same thing should exist for Manchester City. The fact is that Guardiola has a relationship with Madrid through Barcelona. He expects to beat Madrid because that's where his positioning is. And Man City are now a powerhouse in world football, irrespective of the origin of their money and where it might have come from and what people might think of it.
Yeah.
They're a powerhouse in European football. And, I mean, people forecast it. The betting companies were all over it yesterday saying, we predict Man City. Is it a shift in power? Is it a tectonic plates shifting? Is it reinforcing the argument that Tebas has, Javier Tebas, the president of La Liga, that English football is dominating and destroying the rest of Europe because of its economic power?
Yeah.
Maybe, but who cares?
No, exactly, Simon. I'm with you. I absolutely
good
love
for a long
that.
time.
Incidentally, this Spanish parrot is dead. I love that. Monty Python from years ago. It's an ex-parrot. England now have 11 wins in 12 games against Spanish opponents in this season's Champions League. So English clubs dominate, even when it comes to playing the top dogs like Real Madrid. But Pep says, nah, we're nowhere near it yet in terms of winning the thing.
We are away. Still, we are not ready. Still not. So the important is to wait, but in February will be better. And of course, if you play this kind of games, you are ready to go. So we have been here in the past, playing much better than today, and we lose, right? So football sometimes, in games in Manchester, that we play good now, we play beyond. You know, but the game should be over. The knockout game should be over, and at the end, come here is not. It's always difficult. So that's why I take it. The players make an incredible effort, an incredible good result. The spirit is unbelievable, but there's still margin to improve.
Well done, City. Well done, Pep. Here's the thing, though, Simon. Only last week, Didi Hamann said, and we broadcast it here at talkSPORT, I don't think that Pep will win the Champions League or the Premier League again with Manchester City. And you kind of went with him.
Well, I mean, I like Didi for a start. I mean, you know, I don't always agree with everything he says, and I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything I say, but he speaks his mind. and he doesn't care about the ramifications of putting people's noses at a joint, whether it be his previous clubs or it be with a national team manager. So he says it as he sees it, or as he feels he sees it. I think there's some substance behind what he's thinking. It's difficult to see, despite the fact that Man City are on the tails of Arsenal, why Arsenal won't win this Premier League this year. If Arsenal can keep their poise, get their central defenders back, it's their title, I think, to win. The Champions League, I think it's a tall order, but again, Arsenal have the squad to do both. Now, whether they have the emotional capability of doing both might discount Arsenal from winning the Champions League. But I think there are better sides currently, which is Pep's observation. And he's saying, look at February. I mean, so much of these football managers is BS baffles brains. They start confusing everything and turning it into a bloody riddle wrapped up in a rhyme. Your team's a good side. It's winning what it needs to win.
Yeah.
It is a competitive side. It can win the Champions League. Do I think they will? I think it's a push for City. But Didi's perspective was that he can't see a situation where they don't win either, and I think that's plausible. I think the bookies would probably have that take that bet and give you odds on that.
Probably, yeah.
So
For them not to win
it's
either.
not unreasonable. Whether he's got an agenda behind saying it, I don't know. But the fact is that there is a distinct possibility if Arsenal win the Premier League this year and don't have a Liverpool moment, which is fall apart the following season, that they could start really honing in on dominating English football.
Sure, I agree. It would be a very big ask for Newcastle United to win the Champions League. Newcastle came from behind to lead 2-1 in Leverkusen before being pegged back to a draw. Newcastle have now conceded 9 goals in the final 10 minutes of games in all competitions this season. They just can't get it over the line, can they? And that frustrated Eddie Howe.
I think we're a team that's hopefully building in the right direction. I think we've had a difficult summer. I thought you've seen that in some of our early performances. I think the last 6 have been a lot better, but we're not perfect, and we're doing our best to develop and to grow. I think there's positive signs, but there's still some moments where we, I think, shoot ourselves to a degree and in the foot, and that was there again today. And I know it's a frustration, not just for me, but for the players and for everybody, because we're costing ourselves at the moment.
It's a shame that Newcastle remained 12th. It could and should have been better, Simon.
Getting closer, don't they?
They're getting closer, yes, but I mean, the final 2 games are PSV at home before going to PSG in the final tie.
Well, they've got a bit PSV, haven't they? I mean, they've got. I mean, is it a tragedy? Is it a major circumstance for Newcastle if they get into the round? They get into the knockout stages by playing through a playoff? I don't think so. I mean, ideally, you get into the top 8. It's an arse to get in the top 8, despite this moniker of 2030. Look for 2030, 2030. Everything's 2030 because that's what the Saudi state has detailed is going to be the regeneration of their own region, and sport's going to be part of it. They're going to have to do a hell of a lot to achieve being the world's biggest club by 2030 and winning a Champions League, because the deck is stacked against them.
Yeah.
But insofar as their form, recently they couldn't get a shot on goal away from home. They couldn't score a goal. They're now scoring goals away from home. They're getting closer. They bashed up Everton recently, scored 4 goals away at Everton. They've just scored 2 against Leverkusen, well done. And so they're closer.
Yeah.
So I mean, the progress is there, I think, and these are not bad results. If you take it in isolation and say going away to Leverkusen and in a Champions League game, and getting a point, is that a bad result? I think most people would have said at the beginning of the Champions League campaign, we'll have that.
Okay, well, it comes at a time that there is a mouth-watering fixture in the Northeast this weekend. And they all know it. Newcastle fans know it. Sunderland fans certainly know it. So ahead of the first Tyne-Weir derby, Sunderland against Newcastle, are Sunderland favourites, Simon, going into it?
Well, no, not really, but they are. I would pitch Premier League quality. Against the achievements of Sunderland, the fact that Sunderland have got more legs in them this week because Newcastle have played midweek. I think they're on an equal footing, which I think is a good thing, because I don't think anyone can pick this game really, because on the balance of probabilities, you wouldn't be surprised if Sunderland won. You wouldn't be surprised if, because it's a derby, takes care of itself and Newcastle were to win away from home and ultimately start creating this scenario where they're winning away from home again. What it is, though, is a brilliant derby where Sunderland are not the runt of the litter. They're not the poor relations. They're not this declining force that Paolo Di Canio was holding together on his knees, literally, and all that went with it in that time when Sunderland were falling apart under Ellis Short. This is a resurgent Sunderland with a brilliant manager, with a young owner that's really proved himself to know what he's doing, or having people around him that are giving him good advice. So it's a hell of a. I mean, they must be buzzing up in the northeast.
Oh, absolutely.
The area must be buzzing.
Everything you've said is absolutely spot on, Simon. I mean, I don't know what you think this morning. Sunderland fans, are you favourites going into this weekend? You've got home advantage against Newcastle, your great rivals. Are you favourites? Is this a game that Eddie Howe dare not lose? And here's one for you. Who's at a bigger cup final for? Sunderland or Newcastle? The two tussle at the weekend. Sunderland are 9th in the Premier League, Newcastle 12th, and there's a point between them. So going into it, who's at a bigger cup final for? Sunderland or Newcastle? We want to hear from you this morning. Come on and join Simon and myself on the show this morning. 03717 223344 81089. Jamie, we can't please everybody, can we? Just gone 20 past 10, Simon. Jamie, seriously, you couldn't script it with you lot. Arsenal beat Real Madrid last year in a quarter-final, and we had to hear from you all saying it's not the same Real Madrid. City beat them. I'm listening to you and Simon. Apparently it's now a great feat.
Shut up.
Sorry, Jamie.
I'm pretty sure we said that Arsenal did very well last year.
I think we did too. I'm pretty sure we did too. Give your head a wobble. I've done it. Thanks, Jamie, for that. Gave my head a wobble there. But we'll get to Arsenal, because what Arsenal did last night was hugely admirable. They went over to Club Brugge and they won well. We'll get to that. I want to get back to this, though, because as I expected, the reaction has been huge. Sunderland fans, Newcastle fans. Newcastle couldn't get over the line last night, came close, but they ended up taking a point from the game in Germany against Bayer Leverkusen. But they couldn't do it. But now Sunderland, back in the big time, take on Newcastle this weekend. And I put the question out there, is this a game that Eddie Howe dare not lose? Who's it a bigger cup final for? Is it Sunderland or is it Newcastle? 03717 223344. Indeed, are Sunderland favourites? We'll get to that now. Dean, good morning. Big Newcastle fan. How do you feel about this weekend?
I'm looking forward to it, Jim. Morning, guys.
Morning.
Great show.
Thanks, Dean.
I'm a postman, so I've got you on all day, every day. It helps my working day massively.
Brilliant. We're delighted to hear that. So who is it a bigger cup final for this weekend, you guys or Sunderland?
Well, it's going to be bigger for the Mackhams, isn't it? I mean, we're used to big games. They never get any. So for us, it's a walk in the park. A couple of weeks ago, I was a little bit nervous about it, but the closer it's getting, the more confident I'm becoming. We're getting our waveform up together, and we're used to performing in big games, so I think we'll bash them.
But in all fairness, though, with all the Mickey taking to one side, this is a game, though. Sunderland are in good nick, they're in good form, they're a difficult side to beat. They'll be full of beans at home, won't they? So it's going to be a proper game of football, won't it?
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, they're a big athletic side, but we're bigger. And I just feel the closer it's getting, the more confident I'm becoming. You know, we've had these big games, cup finals, semi-finals, and we always seem to rise to the occasion. We always rise against the big teams. I'm not saying Sunderland's a big, it's a big game for us, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to bash those Mackhams on Sunday.
Dean, thank you so much for taking time out from delivering your letters. No doubt he's busy, coming close to Christmas. Andrew's a big Sunderland fan. Andrew, how do you feel about this? Is it a bigger cup final of a game for you or Newcastle?
Personally, I think it's a big game for Newcastle, because with them supposed to be being like the richest club in the world and all that. And I just think that this is probably the tightest derby it's been for a long time, considering the Sunderland were always at the bottom of the table and chasing Newcastle all the time. But I think it's probably the tightest game it's been for a long, long time.
Yeah, Andrew, Simon was right to make a special mention of Regis Lebris. What have you got in this guy? I mean, I didn't know much about him until he came here.
No, what Reggie has achieved has been phenomenal. None of us expect this. We wanted the Premier League, obviously, but to get what we are getting, I mean, we didn't expect to be winning Chelsea, drawing against Arsenal and Liverpool. It's just been an absolute fantastic up the curve.
Yeah.
Unexpected, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, thanks for that. Derek's a big Newcastle fan. Derek, convince me that Newcastle will win this.
I can't convince Jim. I couldn't do it without if I had a magic wand. We'll just go and get everything we've got, get stuck in, and just stop making silly mistakes. Yeah. Well, it's not a cup final, Jim. It's not a league game, but it's just panic straight. I hate playing them. I can't stand playing Sunderland, because it's just you can't win, I can't lose. You've got to get over and done with, and hope we score more goals than they do. That's all we've got to do, and do our best.
You sound like a worried man, Derek.
Terrified. I hate playing them, Jim. When we got them in the cup this time last year, drew them in the FA Cup, I was breaking it right till the game started. I was petrified. I can't stand it. I'm too nervous. I'm too stressed. I'm counting the minutes. I just want the game over and done with.
Is it unimaginable for you to think of a Sunderland win here?
Oh, Jim, the stress level is it's not fair. There's a mate of mine here, if he goes to one more swing across the game and have a heart attack, he will. he buries himself somewhere.
Oh,
it's just it's too stressful. It's too nerve-wracking.
Oh, Derek, I'm sorry to hear that the last time Sunderland won it, you were ill. Raymond, a Sunderland fan, Raymond, if Sunderland win this weekend, poor old Derek's going to be throwing up in the pub. We don't want that, do we?
Oh, no, we don't want that. No, we want them all to cry. If Newcastle win, we want them all to cry. But it's going to be a big game for both teams. I mean, maybe Newcastle could be favourites, but we're going to really show them what we can do. I mean, people didn't expect where we are now in the league, in the middle of the league or just above the league. But, the players we've got are gelled. I mean, we've got a fantastic manager. He's done very, very well. There's a few Premiership teams looking at him, which is they can look, but they can't touch him. And one more thing. It's upset me, a lot of Sunderland supporters. When you say there's a big derby the weekend in the northeast, a Tyne-Weir derby. It's not a Tyne-Weir derby. It's a Weir Tyne derby.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Good point. You get the home advantage, Raymond. Thank you for that. Chris is a Newcastle fan who's been waiting patiently, Simon, and he'll take us up to 10:30, I'm quite sure. I mean, Chris, there's a lot of pressure on you here because you dare not lose this. Are you concerned that you're going to?
Morning, guys. I don't think it's too much pressure on it, to be fair. Like, I'll be honest with you, it's just the banter you have between both sides, isn't it? But as for being a cup final, I think the occasion is just as big for both sides. Just obviously, the last time we played Sunderland was in an FA Cup game, but it's a Premier League derby. Like, form goes out the window regardless of where you are in the league table. Sunderland have been flying, I must admit, but I'm quietly confident that we're going to do the job and batter them. But I will be going to church on Sunday morning to say a little prayer. Like, I'm not going to lie.
I'm quietly confident that we're going to batter them. Both ends of the spectrum in the conversation.
I mean, Chris, as a Newcastle fan, are you not surprised, be honest with me, at how well Sunderland have done on their return?
Well, to be fair, the one thing I will say on that, like, Sunderland were favourites for relegation, but I've said this to a lot of people, friends and stuff who are Mackems. The investment that they've done pre-season, and one in particular, Granit Xhaka, he's had the experience of the Premier League, and he's got the mixture of experience and youth within that side now, and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Good point. Very good point, Chris. Well, it's thank you so much for all the calls. Sunderland fans getting ready for this, Simon. Newcastle fan. It's a great fixture, Simon.
Well, these are the sort of fixtures that underpin the value of British football. I mean, I know that every country has its own valuable derbies, the Rome derbies, the games between Barcelona and Madrid, not so much because it's a derby, because they're two powerhouses in Spanish football. You look across English football and you look across England, you look across Manchester, you look across the Northwest, you look in the Northeast, and these games that come up, and the spirit of English football lives and breathes through these sort of environments. The fans turn it into a whole different kind of experience, which most people that go and watch English football can't quite relate to. When you see Americans coming over and they see the further, and you pick these sort of moments, and the intensity of this atmosphere in this stadium will be at fever pitch, I suspect.
Sure.
And the players will. I mean, Granit Xhaka has been a key component of Sunderland's success. The boy Ballard that got them into the playoff final is a major a behemoth on their side. Good game.
Yeah, great game.
Probably ended a draw.
I know it's a bit of a generalisation, but two great sets of fans, Sunderland fans and Newcastle fans, and both sets of fans absolutely love their clubs. The Weir Tyne derby, of course, this weekend, and we eagerly await it. It's Thursday morning, a lot to get in this morning between now and 1 o'clock, and we'll talk boxing from 12. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
German leading England. It all sounds a little bit odd, but as Thomas Tuchel tries to bring football home, here's how he ended up in one of the most scrutinised jobs in sport. Well, Tuchel started his footballing journey in the sleepy town of Krimbach. His leadership skills were obvious from an early age, with Tuchel even making subs during PE volleyball sessions. After a knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000. He led the club's under-19s to their league title 5 years later, but his perceived abrasive personality meant Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract. He went on to spend 5 years at the helm at Mainz before leaving the club for Dortmund. And there, Tuchel secured his first major trophy, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more pieces of silverware came next for Tuchel in just 5 seasons at PSG, Chelsea and Bayern Munich. And that CV impressed the top brass at the FA.
We found so many similarities and so many things that suited my approach and my hunger to achieve special things. I always wanted to come back to England.
Well, he says all the right things, but is destiny on Tuchel's side?
Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, the 11th of December, and a lot to get through this Thursday morning with Simon. We're live in talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco. It's where the trade goes. Also, we're live on your TV, live on YouTube. Whatever you want to watch as you can, Google TV, Apple TV, even Prime Video. You can watch the show as well as listen to it. And this morning is absolutely no exception to that. Later on this morning, Simon, you know who this young man is. A very special young fella called Austin Hunter is going to be joining us live in studio. I'll say no more than that. If you cast your mind back about a year, you might recall who I'm talking about. He's a Brighton fan. I'll say no more than that at this stage. He's coming in with his dad, Warwick, and we will speak to them when they appear here in studio. What about Arsenal then, Simon? Last night they beat Club Brugge 3-0 with stunning goals from Madueke, who's been a revelation, and Martinelli. They've all but secured automatic qualification. They topped the group, 6 wins from 6, 1 goal conceded. I mean, that's not bad going, Simon, isn't it?
I mean, Arsenal are in great form.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a great squad of players. They're operating at a high level. He's got an ability to rest the Ezes, put them on the bench, take the Declan Rices out of the squad full stop. They don't have the 2 centre-backs. So all of these things are good. And ultimately, they've qualified from the Champions League. Now they put themselves in a situation where they've gone into the groups qualifying stages, or into the knockout stages, albeit, there's some mathematical equations that could change that, but it's not going to, is it?
Sure.
The bottom line is they've done great, and I mean, I would have expected them to beat Club Brugge because they're not a strong opposition. But expecting someone to do it and going and doing a professional job, are 2 different things, and they've done it, and well played to them.
I was at the Champions League final in Paris years ago when Arsenal came up short on the night against Henrik Larsson in Barcelona. Would there be something more significant about Arteta doing what his predecessors never could, land a Champions League?
Well, I mean, everyone will tell you, I think, most football managers will tell you, and even back to the days when Brian Clough used to wax lyrical about it, winning the league is the blueprint for managers. It's the bread and butter. It's where managers prove themselves in the highest format of having to go over a full season with all the different challenges and peculiarities. Now, of course, that's before you got into a Champions League that had more games. When they played in the European Cup, I don't think they had quite as many games as they might have to have now to win a Champions League. It's 15 or 17, isn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
The fact is that winning the Champions League would differentiate him from everybody else because nobody in Arsenal's done that. And so much currency was made of PSG eventually arriving at Europe's top table. I personally think for Arsenal, the bigger outcome is winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
But if they win the Champions League, he'll be able to lay claim to a unique position. Arsenal have not been in that position previously in terms of only being in the final and not winning it. So look, they'll take either, won't they? I think that there's a possibility they could win both. I think it's going to be a tall order, and the emotional maturity of the squad and the emotional maturity of the manager being able to contest two very significant fronts might mean that he gets one or the other.
Yeah.
But I think there's a capability of doing both.
Oh my God. I mean, can Arsenal fans even envisage that moment that you win both the Premier League and the Champions League? Is that even in your mind at the moment? Do you have a greater yearning for one more than the other? Simon says the Premier League. That would be the goal ultimately. But do you have a greater yearning for the Champions League over the Premier League? The one you've never got, remember? The Champions League. That huge, wonderful trophy. Can you envisage it now being raised aloft by the Arsenal players? You might want to give us a call on that if you fancy. 03717 223344. Ateta going great guns. In Glasgow, there's a fella called Wilfred Nancy who wants to go great guns with Celtic. He's taken over from Brendan Rodgers, who left. Our great chum, Martin O'Neill, was in on an interim basis and excelled in that time. Martin will be with us next week, incidentally. But Wilfred Nancy has arrived from the MLS. And, of course, didn't get off to a great start. Lost to Hearts the other night. Table-topping Hearts. And now tonight, Celtic host Roma in the Europa League, as Nancy aims to bounce back from that debut defeat to Hearts. And then there's the small matter of a weekend League Cup final against St Mirren. So Nancy's been speaking, and he was asked if he was surprised by the level of scrutiny that he's come under since he set foot in Glasgow.
My mom told me that I have, I don't know how to say that in English, but I have bags, a bit of bags. I said, yeah, mommy, I just came in, jet lag, try to anticipate everything. But again, this is part of our job. I'm really excited by that. So I try to stay at peace with myself, at peace with the person that I am. Try to open my eyes to understand the culture. Try to open my eyes to also to understand what is the context. And after that, I'm going to do what I used to do in terms of the way I want to play, because this is a lifestyle. This is not something that I try to cope. This is something that I feel. And after that, we'll see.
Wilfred, the baggy eyes are going to get worse, mate, if you lose to Roma and then St Mirren at the weekend. Nancy Simon, when it comes to it, was ridiculed in some quarters for the use of a talkSPORT on the touchline. Some pundits even questioned his choice of wearing green trainers the other night against Hearts. Optics. Should how you present yourself in the dugout actually matter?
If you don't win football matches, it does. I mean, it all becomes part of it. His big problem is not the fact he was playing battleships with a tactics board, is that he...
See, even you're ridiculing it.
Well, I think it's relatively ridiculable, because your team didn't win a game. You've been handed over a very decent set of results in terms of re-establishing Celtic back into a good form from Martin O'Neill. You've got Hearts, who are sitting top of the table. Your first game is an absolute belter of a game. It's against the team that's sitting top of the table, who have recently gone on decline. So the opportunities there. Celtic have been in the upswing. Hearts have levelled off a little bit. And you go produce an outcome which you change the team around. You lose the game. And you sit there creating an outcome which is very reminiscent of other American managers. I know he's not American, but he's been managing in American football, whether it be Jesse Marsh or whether it be Bob Bradley. Next thing you'll know, you'll be talking about other things and other terminologies, PKs or whatever he determined, penalties, kicks were in terms of what Bob Bradley used as American colloquialisms for English football. And the thing for me that worried me all along, insofar as I care that much about what happens to Celtic and their manager, is that there's no credentials in my mind for managing in the MLS. And managing Scottish football, as much as I think the Scottish Premier League is a bit of a pub league in comparison to the Premier League, the management of Celtic and Rangers is a whole different ball game. You are in Europe. If you don't get hold of this, you'll get your backsides handed to you tonight by a decent European side, Roma, and all of a sudden you've got 2 games in, and you've started with changing the team around from the team that O'Neill has stabilised and got results out of. You've changed that around. You've gone out there looking like a coach that has all theory and no practice. And you've lost the game.
Really? But it's game 1.
I know.
It's just arrived.
But it's unfortunate, isn't it? That's why you make first impressions are the one that lasts longest. So make the right one. Don't give people an opportunity. I know it's unfortunate, and I'm always in the camp of saying to somebody, give people an opportunity. Give people an opportunity to prove themselves. Don't just judge instantaneously. I'm always critical of the conversations that we have where I say, in the moment, micromanaging, it'll be all right in a couple of weeks' time. Look at Aston Villa. Everyone was forecasting their doom. Look where they are now. But when you walk into a situation like Celtic, one of these unique jobs, there aren't many of them about. The focus is instantaneously upon you. Your credentials, I mean, okay, it's wonderful that Nigel Reo-Coker talks about it, but quite with all due respect, I don't think most football club owners are going to listen to Nigel Reo-Coker about who they appoint as a manager.
Yeah.
And I don't think the MLS is a blueprint for how you manage European sides. But hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong. And so the reason why I'm saying it is the first impression is important, because us buggers in the media, and I put myself in that, will judge you forever and a day on that impression. You'll never get away from it. So win the game. Don't change too much. Win the game. Be sensible. Get the outcome. Move on. And no one would care about your tactics board and all that sort of stuff.
I think it's so picky. I mean,
he lost.
Rangers manager Russell Martin, Simon, when he was there, he was criticised in some quarters for opting not to wear a suit. Big deal. If Russell had won more games, he'd still be there.
That's not really serious criticism. That's people finding content, finding a mechanism to fill some airspace, right? I watched it. When I watched them, I thought, don't lose this game, and don't give people an opportunity to parody anything you're doing. And I'm sat there, and I honestly do. I know I might be a bit of a bit of a Philistine, but I do think it's BS baffles brains with all this stuff. The players should know what they're capable of doing. The managers should set them up at half time, at the beginning of the game. You shouldn't need a bleeding tactics board on the side of a pitch going through. It's ridiculous.
But there'd be no uproar about that if they'd won the match.
Win the game then.
That's a thing, isn't it?
Well, there would still be people saying, okay, not sure about that, because it does feel like theory. It does feel like style over substance, and it's not the kind of style that European football is predicated upon.
Yeah.
It's not. And if you don't know that, you better be right, son. If you want to be that kind of outlier, if you want to operate the way you want to operate, you better be right, son. Because the orthodoxy in this part of the world will eat you for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
If you aren't right.
Welcome to Glasgow, Wilfred Nancy. So, should optics matter so soon since he arrived in Glasgow? Wilfred Nancy not off to the best start, lost to Hearts. Tonight it's Roma. At the weekend, it's a League Cup final against St Mirren. Optics, how much should they matter? This tactics board that he was fiddling about with, and the green trainers, didn't send the right message, but is that important to Celtic fans? Surely it's all about winning. Tonight against Roma and at the weekend against St Mirren. 03717 22 33 44 810 89. We're off to Saudi next, and we'll find out more about Mo Salah. Jim White and Simon Jordan live on talkSPORT. Thursday, December the 11th. Another huge weekend of football is looming. And of course, one big question remains to be answered, and we don't know the answer at this moment. Will Mo Salah be involved in any shape or form when Liverpool take on Brighton at Anfield this coming Saturday? Of course, in some quarters, it's felt by many that Mo Salah has played his last game for Liverpool since that outburst when he said post-match at Leeds United that he'd been thrown under the bus. And of course, that hasn't gone down well, not only at the club, but amongst some of his fellow players, and of course, predominantly amongst the supporters. So now the attention seems to be shifting. Is Mo Salah out of Liverpool? And very soon, will he be on his way to a new club? Will that club be one of the Saudi clubs? It's reported Salah has several Saudi Arabian clubs willing to do, quotes, whatever it takes to sign him, with official bids expected as soon as next month. Let's find out if this man and his Saudi club, Al Khaloud, is going to be in that bidding process. I'm delighted to say, live with us this morning is the chairman of Saudi Pro League side Al Khaloud, and he's Ben Harburg. Ben, welcome to the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Good to be with you.
Ben, thanks very much indeed. Simon's alongside me. Before we go anywhere, what was your first reaction, Ben, when you heard about Salah and you heard what he'd said?
Well, as an owner, I don't like it. Obviously, you don't like a player to throw his teammates, coaches, administrators under the bus. And obviously, it's been a tough season for him, but he was paid his bag and he's underperformed this season. He has a great history. We don't, as owners, put players on the pitch because of past performance. We put them on for current form. And it's tough as an owner, a club administrator, to see comments like that.
So I'm going to bring Simon in a second. But Ben, here's the thing. I'm taking it then from what you've just said, that your club and Al Khaloud will not be in the bidding process.
We couldn't afford him anyway, I'll be clear, but in any event, he certainly would not be our profile of player. We specifically look for players from abroad that are kind of around 25 or younger, ideally, folks that are not at the end of their career, but at the middle or beginning even, that we can develop and then ultimately, hopefully, they get sold on to bigger, higher spending clubs here in our league or across the world. And I think we have players today that ultimately can make their way back to Europe, the United States, elsewhere. That's what we want to be. We don't want to be that terminal destination, at least as my club, and I'm hoping for the league at large.
Yeah, but briefly, would he not do great things for the profile of your club?
It doesn't hurt to bring in stars, but I've been adamant with our fans, with the media since the day I took over this club that we won't be hiring stars. We want to build them rather than buy them. We want our alumni to litter their home country national teams. Of course, here the Saudi national team, but I'm not interested in buying my way into fame or into a seat at the table just by bringing on a star now in his mid-30s.
From what you're hearing, are a bunch of clubs going to be joining the queue out there, though? There is huge interest, as we understand it, Ben. Maybe not from you, but from others.
I can't speak for other clubs. I mean, and it's an easy narrative for agents and others to throw out that, Saudi Arabia is in the mix. As soon as that name comes in, the price tag goes up. It creates a bit of FOMO, a bidding war. And so I can see why a lot of people would be interested into the narrative. I've not spoken with any club specifically that said they were directly interested in him, but I can't speak for them. And who knows what ultimately transpires. I don't have that inside information.
What do you make of Ben's statement?
Well, I think what he's saying, what he's saying is right in some respects, but given the nature of the league, obviously I'm quite interested in this fellow because I have a house in Cadiz. He owns the football team in Cadiz, so I shall pop along and see what his football team are doing in the second tier of the Spanish league. But the principle of the league, and interesting to listen to an American talk about star quality and star power, because having gone over to the MLS, Ben, and watched the development of the MLS last year and seen what Inter Miami have managed to achieve economically, because you're in business to make money from a football business at the same time as maybe loving the sport. You look at Messi going over to Inter Miami at the tail end of his career, creating a valuation that Inter Miami will now have you believe is $1 billion franchise, and it probably is. So there is resonance in star power. But I also concur with your view. I don't like Saudi being used as a stalking horse for agents. I don't like agents having an opportunity to whip up the economic landscape for everybody to suffer from. But there is value also in decent players at a stage in their career where they still have some value, not a pension home, going and joining leagues that are trying to create some value for themselves and some imprint on domestic football worldwide.
Well, first, there's only one Messi, so I think it's tough to replicate that. And also, the MLS doesn't have relegation, and so it's easy for their equity values to appreciate. Today, if I want to buy an MLS franchise, it costs me $500 million. So it's an American sport is a parallel universe to the rest of, let's say, global football. To your point, my comments around Mo Salah were not to say we don't want stars. The first comment I made publicly was we don't want to overpay for them. So if Mo Salah wants to come to us, I said welcome him. He needs to take a commensurate salary here, because remember also you don't have to pay income tax here. So any salary
if you stayed there for 3 years, yeah.
That's right. So you don't pay income tax. Quality of living and cost of living is probably lower than certainly in London. Don't know about Liverpool, but so my view is we're happy to bring those stars in as long as they're getting commensurate pay. We shouldn't be 5 times overpaying them to be here, and then ideally targeting players who are earlier in their career so they can grow up and contribute, rather than ones that are seeing this as their last stop before they retire.
That's a fair set of observations, but again, I go back to the point, and I take your point about relegation. If you talk to the Don Gerbers of the world and those sort of people that are running the MLS, they believe ultimately that their league's going to be a top 5 league in European in world football, so it's going to have to operate at a certain level. If Saudi's going to do that, then how do you get the quality of performance if you don't take overseas players into the mix that to some extent you have to pay over the price for? Because nobody, with due respect, of a significant level that's going to raise the game, the experience and the quality of coaching and the quality of development in the country is going to want to play in Saudi unless there's an economic benefit to it. So you're always going to have to pay through the nose to get your league to where you want it to be, aren't you?
Well, we did that in the first generation of this, right? So in 2023, Ronaldo comes in, and many stars over that period, more than 100, were overpaid to come here. And so we've kind of ticked the box now, and I think people recognize the quality of the league. You go to a random club like Al Shabab here in Saudi Arabia, and they have Yannick Carrasco. So, I mean, you've got now already a level of player here already commensurate with many of the top leagues in the world. And now I think my objective as the first foreign and first private owner in league history is to kind of evolve it to that next generation where we're financially sustainable and paying commensurate, or, at a quality level commensurate, rather than overpaying by 4 or 5 times.
That being said, and obviously there's so much noise about Salah, and I'm entirely in your camp. As a former owner, I dislike players feeling that they have an opportunity to say what they want, when they want, how they want. And we both understand that there are certain players that might be able to get away with it. And get away with it in terms of executing an outcome that suits them best. Ronaldo did it at Manchester United and orchestrated an outcome that suited him. Do you believe, irrespective of your resistance to the idea and you not being a bidding club to be taking Salah, that he'll end up in the Saudi Pro League as a result of this set of circumstances?
I wouldn't be surprised. But again, I just hate this narrative that Europe pawns off its kind of fallen or declining stars to us. I just bristle at it when I hear it, especially when I hear the headline numbers. I just hate it.
Yeah, but Ben, the counter-argument to that is some would say that the Saudi Pro League would be very lucky to have a player of the stature of Mo Salah at this particular time in the Saudi Pro League's life.
Again, I don't chalk it up to luck. People go where they want to go because of the money that they're paid. But I would say, for instance, for our club, we have some younger players. In fact, we took a player out of the MLS. We took a player out of the championship last year who were undervalued, underappreciated. And today their agents will tell you it was the best decision of their career to come here, especially if you're a family man, if you're someone who cares about safety, quality of life. This is today an incredible place to live and work. You're right that it doesn't always have the prestige. There are some rougher around the edges cities here, but ultimately, if you kind of survey, I'd say 9 out of 10 players that played here previously, they'd tell you that this is a lovely place to live and work. And so I just think that narrative is changing. We're only within the kind of first 5 years, 6 years of this 2030 vision and the shifts that have happened domestically. But come here and see it for yourself, and I think you'll recognize it's nowhere near the place that needs to be overpaid in order to justify people coming this direction.
Ben, with respect to you, I mean, you have an investment banker's mentality. I understand that space quite well myself, but aren't you guys pushing back against, bristling against the idea that the quantums of money have to be paid to these players coming over to you? Aren't you the architects of that particular philosophy yourselves? Look what MBS has done with Turkey Al-Sheikh in boxing and creating that landscape. Look at Michael Emenello coming on shows like this 2 years ago, talking about what they can and can't buy. Aren't you, as a result of the circumstances of Saudi with their 2030 vision and Agatar and Neon City and all the different dynamics of what Saudi wants to achieve, aren't you actually the architects of that thinking? Not you personally.
So I'm new. I'm 3 months in, and as I said, there was a first generation. There was a pay-to-play generation. There was an overspend generation, and I think that's being dialed back. My personal view is we can have a similar quality of play in the league today, in the SPL, at a fraction of the price because we've overpaid so significantly for players. And when some of these star players that are in the league today start falling out of their contracts, my hope is that maybe we don't reduce the overall spend.
So you think that money was seed capital, right? You think that money was seed capital? You think that money being spent on the first generation was seed capital?
That was phase 1.0. We're now entering the second phase of that, where you're seeing these dialed back. You've seen the announcements around NEOM. Things are quietly being dialed back, but not because we don't have the capital to still spend. We need to spend it sustainably and to create real sustainable industry and sports rather than ones that are kind of just pay to play.
Okay, Ben, maybe from the turn of the year, you will be seeing Mo Salah, but in the opposition lineup. Certainly not for your own club, Al Khaloud. Ben Harbour, great to have you with us this morning, live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. A lot to get through. In the next hour, a whole bunch of things coming your way. And that World Cup match, Egypt against Iran, designated as a pride match by the host city in Seattle. It's not for us, say Egypt, and it's not for us, say Iran. It's 11 o'clock.
Hamilton, now at Ferrari, dares to dream of a record 8th F1 world title. The Tifosi will be hoping the Brits can bring glory back to Italy. To many, Ferrari and Formula One are inseparable. They're the only team in the sport today to have competed in the first World Championship in 1950, are the most successful team in history, and have built some absolutely gorgeous cars. Their first driver's title was won in 1952 by Alberto Ascari. Considered one of F1's most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. The Professor Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Raikkonen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. We're also coming live, of course, on your TV. And so many of you come up to me in the street here around the London Bridge area and say you watch the show as well as listen to it, and I'm delighted at that. You can catch us in a variety of ways: Samsung, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. So wherever you want to watch us, if that's what you want to do, and you're doing it in big numbers, I'm pleased to say, then that is fine by Simon and myself. We have a lot to get through in the next hour. And of course, we'll talk boxing, Simon, from 12 to 1 onwards. Very shortly, in about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by a very special guest, a young man I met at the Amex close to Christmas last season. Simon, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
It was a Brighton match. I was down there seeing Paul Barber and Tony Bloom, and up popped this young man by the name of Austin Hunter. And Austin had a few challenges ahead of him, to say the least of it. But he's come through those challenges, and we'll talk more about that very shortly. I am thrilled to say that Austin is the other side of the glass that I'm pointing at the moment, and he's going to join us this side of the glass very soon, take a seat in studio alongside his dad, Warwick, and we're going to have a chat with Austin this morning, who will basically tell us how he is. He's a great fella.
Yep.
I know, Simon, that very few people impress you from the word go. But this boy did.
Yeah, of course. If he were my son, I'd be desperately proud of him. I have a young son. I have a 5-year-old boy. And I think life is about overcoming adversity. Too many people in life falter at adversity. He's had the most extreme adversity, but he takes it in his stride, it would appear, and moves on with life. And I admire that, and I think it's something to be cherished and something to be heralded. He will, with that attitude in life, I think there aren't going to be many things that he won't be able to overcome, and I love that. And kids in this day and age, we constantly hear about what they're challenged by, how their mental health is. This is a young man that is, not that he wants to be a shining example to others. He wants to live his life the best version it can be.
Yeah.
But we'll listen to him. I'm delighted that he's in the studio again.
Great having you, Austin. No pressure, incidentally. That was quite a build-up, wasn't it? No pressure, Austin, when you come through here and join us. And we're looking forward to that. We spoke about this yesterday, Simon, and it got a bit heated between the two of us. Iran versus Egypt next summer in the World Cup finals over in the USA. Now, FIFA this morning is under real pressure to intervene over the staging of this World Cup game between Egypt and Iran. That's how they came out in the draw. It's been designated as a pride match by the host city in Seattle. But now Egypt and Iran are saying not so fast, because the Egyptians and the Iranian federations have complained to FIFA over the planned celebration of LGBTQ plus pride that coincides with the match. In other words, this is a match that's been labelled a World Cup LGBTQ plus pride match. But it was labelled that before the draw was made. And now after the draw was made, we know who's going to be competing in the match. And neither the Egyptians or the Iranians want it. So one wonders how Infantino is going to cope with that. And we well remembered what he was all about when he landed at the World Cup in Qatar.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay.
Now, I know, Simon, you're rolling your eyes at
it's just
that.
utter nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah. So I wonder what Gianni Infantino will be on this occasion, because they've got to sort something out here, Simon, have they not? The Egyptians and the Iranians are making it quite clear, no, we're not going to play a match like that when you label it like that.
Yeah. It's a challenging one. It falls into the space that I often say is, why can't we just allow football to be football? And why do we have to have it hijacked by a whole raft of agendas, a whole raft of philosophies and ideologies and beliefs and supposed levelling up the playing field? I'm not surprised it's in Seattle. It's a progressive part of the world, that strange little place that went into some sort of war. Seattle. It's a football match. It's in a World Cup. What's this got to do with people's sexuality? It baffles me. It really does. I know why people want to achieve these sort of things. I know what they think they want to highlight and what they think they want to put into the world, the injustices of the world, the injustices upon certain historic injustices upon certain communities. But that has moved on now. There's always going to be intolerances. There's always going to be people, a very minute a part of the society that has its own biases and ignorances. But the idea that we have to constantly curate and create some sort of wrapper around football, it's a World Cup game. What's it got to do with gay pride? What's it got to do with the LG?
You see, at that weekend, it's Pride Weekend in Seattle. And they decided to badge up this game before they knew who was going to play in it as the Pride match.
But fine, if Seattle wants to have Pride Week in that particular time, but it doesn't mean that the football has to lean into it. It's virtue signalling. It's nonsense. And I understand, I don't agree with anti-homosexuality positions. Of course I don't. In a civilized society, it doesn't really matter. The only reason people start to resist it and bristle like me is because I get tired of it being forced into my face. I don't care about anyone's sexuality. The only time I care about it is when I'm constantly being confronted with it.
I get that, but they're not asking much, are they? Well, they badged up the game that way, but they're not asking the players to wear pride.
That people could parody, but the fact of the matter is that I'm looking at it going, this is a football match. What has it got to do with any other initiative besides the fact that those that want to promote these initiatives, that feel that they need to be promoted, will make their own case for it?
Do you think it might get as far as Egypt and Iran saying, if you continue to badge this match the way you've done it, as a pride match, we ain't playing in it?
Well, it's interesting. We've just seen Slavia Prague turn around and threaten Tottenham Hotspur to such a point that they took these flags down that shouldn't have been there in the first place, quite frankly, in my view. No need for it. I'm not suggesting that people can't represent themselves and stand up for their beliefs and stand up for the rights of individual communities. The idea that you need to have flags inside football stadiums to be able to achieve it, and that these football stadiums aren't inclusive, then to me it's just nonsense. And those that are on the other side of the argument will say, well, that's because you're ignorant and you're it's nothing to do with being a homophobe. It's to do with the belief that ultimately we live in a country, we live in a society where people are equal under the law. It's been achieved. Those battles have been won. This is not the 1960s. It's not the 1970s. So we can look at things differently. And the more you seek to differentiate, the more you seek to have a gay pride month to differentiate people. We are all part of the human race. We're all part of society. And who you sleep with is only place of business is yourself. So going to the point that you're going to ask me, I hope they do. I hope they make it bloody uncomfortable for FIFA. I hope they make it bloody uncomfortable for these ridiculous...
No, but again, as I said yesterday to you, when we went to Qatar, the Qataris said, this is what we're about. These are our standards. These are our practices, and you have to adhere to them. Seattle is saying, on this particular weekend, we're about pride and pride match. And hey-ho, that now features Egypt and Iran, so respect it.
It's not a pride match.
Is it asking much to respect it?
It's not a pride match. It's a football match in a World Cup tournament. It has nothing to do with pride. It has everything to do with a football tournament that's being staged in America. So the fact that you went to Qatar and were... And people were very critical. The hypocrites of the gang, the Linekers of the world that had been over there trousering their money, that didn't want to show their ceremonies because they subscribed to the view, to some extent rightly so, that the human rights record is not good enough. And the migrant workers weren't treated the way that they should have been treated. And the anti-homosexuality laws that are over there are not in keeping with the Western values. But we have accepted those principles by going over there. We should shut our mouths and get on with it. And in this instance, there is no reason... The fact of the matter is, it doesn't have anything to do with a football match.
That said, is it not a case of respect the culture you're in?
You're not in a culture.
Yes, they are. They're in Seattle's culture.
So, no, that's
you're in their culture. It's a Western world.
That's not a culture. That's a series of initiatives and ideologies being perpetrated through certain communities that feel that they need to keep on flag waving and telling us all about the injustices that are being foisted upon them. Football doesn't have any relationship with that. Football's an inclusive sport. Everyone can come into... I don't walk into a football ground waving a flag about what my sexuality is. They'll turn around and say, it's because you're not disadvantaged. Neither are you. In fact, there's an argument about, positive discrimination in the other direction towards people's sexuality, towards people's gender and towards people's ethnicity.
Well, as you might
pack
imagine,
it in and play football.
As you might imagine, FIFA has so far declined to comment.
I hope they're made as uncomfortable as possible. I hope they really are.
It hasn't addressed the questions that are now being asked as to whether or not it might consider switching Belgium, New Zealand to Seattle instead of Egypt, Iran. We'll watch it. We're back after this. It is Thursday morning, December the 11th. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan. We're live on talkSPORT. Just after last Christmas, I was down at the Amex. I think it was Brighton against Brentford. Just before the game, the Brighton chief executive, Paul Barber, someone that we know very well, said to me, "I want to introduce you to a young fan of ours." And this was 13-year-old Austin Hunter, who was at the game with his dad, Warwick. If I remember rightly, the game was a pretty dull 0-0 draw. That didn't matter to me. I had met this special young man. And Austin had come through a tough time. He had a blood disorder, sepsis, and had to have an operation. And sad to say, part of his leg, one of his legs, was amputated. But that didn't seem to bother Austin. And we had a great old chat, which we brought to air right here at talkSPORT. A year on, I'm delighted to say that Austin joined Simon and myself live in studio with Dad Warwick, who's sitting to my right, and Austin is sitting to Simon's left. Austin, you made it. You're here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. Dad, how are you?
Very good, yeah. Year on. Lots happened.
Now, a lot has happened. It was a bit of a dull match that night, was it not, Austin? What do you remember of it?
Just that the food was pretty good, and we had heated seats, but apart from that, yeah, a bit poor.
Did you meet the players? I think you did.
I went down in the emergency lift, saw Fabian Hertzler and all the players. They were very nice, very welcoming.
Yeah. The year itself has been a challenging one, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we broadcast the chat on talkSPORT that you and I did, you had faced up to some tough times.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, at the end of February, times get tougher, did they not?
Yeah, so we decided to remove a muscle from my left calf and wrap it round my ankle to see if that would stabilise the foot and make it more easy to walk on. But then it just was getting more uncomfortable, more painful, wouldn't let me do the things I wanted to do. So in February, we decided to amputate. So now I'm double below the knee, but it's actually probably one of the best decisions I've made because I'm now back competing in wheelchair tennis, which has allowed me to do that. And I'm just so much more healthy and stronger.
Am I right in thinking that when the decision had to be made about the second amputation, you made it?
Yeah, I made the decision a lot quicker than my mum and dad did because they were like, once it's gone, it's gone. But I was adamant that I wanted it to go because it would have made my situation better.
So, Dad, Warwick, how did you feel about that? I mean, the decision was made, as Austin has just described. Were you comfortable that it was left to him to make it? How did you and your wife feel?
You've got to respect his clarity of thought and actually how he wants to live his life and how he wants to progress. But it's a hell of a decision for anybody to take, let alone a 13-year-old boy. You know, it's bad enough when you get a bad haircut, you can't put it back on. But this is his right foot. This means that he no longer, as he says, he's a double amputee. But he was just so determined in what he wanted to do and what he felt was the best thing. And actually watching his recovery from that moment has been incredible. So, yeah, you just have to support his choice. And I think life's about choices and making the best of it. And he does that every day.
So no regrets, Austin, about that decision. No. And each time I see you on social media, you're trying another sport. Yeah. I mean, tell me about that, because there is nothing that you do not attempt.
So the one I've taken up most is wheelchair tennis. I'm enjoying that a lot, and I enjoy it most because I didn't play it before, so I don't really have a reference point of where I was, so I'm starting a clean slate, and every day I'm improving when I play.
Simon, what do you make of this lad?
Well, I think he's a remarkable young man. I think it also must be a testament to his parents, because apples don't fall far from trees, do they? If you produce an environment where kids have strength of clarity and thinking and strong characters, then it's a tribute to the parents too. I'm just curious to see what the future looks like. I mean, we see double amputees go on and do things like the sprinter. Obviously, his life went in a different direction, but notwithstanding that, what does that look like for this young man? What do you see the future being for him in terms of prosthetics and so on and so forth?
Well, I think there's two factors that benefit him. One, society's mindset to disabled and people that are facing challenges, far more inclusive, acceptive. I think a huge amount of work's been gone with the Paralympics to tell the stories behind the athlete. So actually there's now an interest. And then where technology is.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, I've been watching videos of double amputees, 6'5" blokes playing handball, springing and bouncing and doing everything. So suddenly you combine those two things where hopefully he grows up in a supportive, positive environment, and then that sits alongside where technology gets to. And then the question is, well, what's the scale of his ambition? Because actually I don't think society or technology is going to restrict him and limit him, and therefore it's just down to him. And yeah, he's always showed through his life when he was able-bodied what he wanted to achieve. He's very focused, and actually he's just translated that through the adversity he's been through. But it's now incredible to see the pace of which that recovery happens.
Do you see, Austin, young man, the opportunities in life and think to yourself, despite the disabilities that I've got, the challenges that I've got, I'm more focused on achieving more than people can expect me to do or expect of myself? Is that your mindset? Do you look at it and go, right, well, sod this. I'm not having this. I'm having what I want from my life, and I'm not going to let anything get in my way.
I think you're born with a mindset, but I've shown more of it throughout this past year that I've had. But I just take everything as it comes and give it my best shot.
Where does that focus come from, Austin?
I'm not too sure. Just try my best at everything, and that's all you can do, really.
You never feel sorry for yourself?
No. You can't change what's happened in the past. You can only change what's in front of you.
Right.
And every day when he was in hospital, you know, he was in hospital for 6-7 months, 30 operations that he went through.
Yeah.
But every day it was, what are we doing today? What time's my physio? What have I got to do? And therefore that positive choice every day makes tomorrow better, as opposed to actually sitting, looking backwards and just being remorseful and regretful about what's happened.
Yeah. Your love of Brighton comes in here, but they don't exactly help, do they? You went to see them recently, and they were winning the game, and then they threw it away against Aston Villa.
Yeah, talk about game management.
You've got to have a word with Fabian Hürzeler about that, have you not?
Hopefully soon, yeah.
Do you still love it as much, going through the front door of the Amex and taking a seat and watching your team?
Yeah, and it's nice to be back in my season ticket holders that I was in before I was in hospital, so it's back to World Cup. Although it's a lot of stairs, it's still good to be back.
I mean, if you didn't have sport, I wonder how tough life would be, Austin, because it's great for you, tennis, and it's a challenge, and you're doing it. Other sports as well. I've watched on social media what you've tackled. You're fearless, but sport it's so valuable to you, isn't it?
Yeah, sport is my happy place. It's where I get the most enjoyment out of things.
For those listening this morning, and I can see an enormous number of messages coming in. Connor in Middlesbrough, thank you very much. What an inspiring young man Austin is. Absolute fair play to him. Adam Brown, Adam, good morning to you. Thanks for this. This lad is an absolute superstar. Really enjoying listening to Austin and his dad. The Hunter family has set up a GoFundMe page for Austin and the Evelina Hospital. The Evelina Hospital, you and I have spoken a couple of times, Austin, on the phone, and you always mention them. Do you want to mention them live in talkSPORT? What have these people done for your boy?
Yeah, I mean, well, like, you can't put into words the gratitude, and you know, a completely multinational set of people that exist in that hospital, who are all working with one purpose to help others. And yeah, the wraparound care that they provide, not just the surgeons or the trauma nurses or the doctors, but everybody from play specialists to occupational therapists. There's probably over 200 people that have been involved in his care, and it's
200 people.
Yeah. And it's just a very, very special place, and just the continuation of funding to advance technology and everything that they're trying to do. They're actually on the cusp of trying to then build a new section of the hospital, the Evelina 2, which will hopefully come forward over the next decade, will be a specialist for children's cancer. And it's just an incredible place.
I can second that. My son's had surgery in that environment. It's Thomas's and the Evelina, so I know that they're of a high quality. I'm very excited for this kid. I think the opportunities that exist for him with this mindset, rather than focus on the disability, the opportunity to talk to people about overcoming adversity. We live in a society where people don't overcome adversity, they succumb to it. They don't use the challenges as an opportunity to overcome them. They move away from them. So I see, with this kind of characteristics, this kind of parenting, and this kind of outlook, a really bright set of opportunities. Not to dwell on a disability to make it the central theme, because people will focus on that, but to focus on what it takes to really overcome adversity, to really build into society resilience. This is an embodiment of resilience, and we lack it in society. It shouldn't be an onus on a young kid to have to exhibit that. He needs it for his own life. But I feel there's a really bright set of opportunities available for this young man.
Yeah.
I really do.
I mentioned the GoFundMe page, a series of fundraising events uploaded to this website and linked. All the money raised is split between the charities that have and will support Austin's care and rehab, and to help Austin with any specialist equipment that he will require. What are your ambitions, Austin? You're still a young man, 14 years of age.
Yeah.
It's all ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, ideal scenario, I become a professional wheelchair tennis player. But then I think also seeing what the orthopaedic surgeons have done and the surgeons, that would be something I'd be willing to go into and help other people as well.
Austin, I know I can ask you this. There'll be many people listening this morning, and we're very proud of the audience we have, and really happy that you're part of the show today, and a significant part of it, special part of it, you and Dad. There are many people out there, even at this time, as we approach Christmas, having a hard time, suffering adversity of some sort, and their heads are down today. What would you say to them after what you've come through?
I think just try and always look on the bright side. Sometimes life gets hard, but it won't be hard forever, and you can get over that. Whatever makes you happy, just do it.
He's a credit to himself and to you, Warwick. I mean, when I met the two of you, I must admit, I walked away thinking, wow, what a special young man. He's your boy.
He's incredible. And I think to go back to that question about what can people do, it's about actually breaking down goals into smaller milestones. You know, his first milestone in his rehab was when he actually still had both of his legs, was to stand out of bed. So he hadn't stood for 3 months. And his milestone was to get to 15 seconds of standing. And he wanted the stop clock because he wanted to see if he could do it. And he did over 30 seconds. And the next day he did over a minute. And the milestones and the goals may be very small, but challenge yourself to do it and to achieve something. And then those smaller milestones turn into bigger goals and ambitions. And you know, I'm sure with that approach, he can achieve a lot and
you make a fortune as a motivational speaker. You're the agent soon.
Well, that's why I retire. So
yeah, there you go.
Austin and Warwick, thank you very much indeed for being here. The bad news for you is that you're here for the rest of the show as well. You're going to have to sit through the boxing hour from 12 to 1. But hey ho, we're going to do that? Yeah. Austin, great seeing you again. I'm so thrilled that we could host you here today at talkSPORT.
Thank you for having me.
And with Dad, and with competition winners James and John, who I can see the other side of the glass, who paid a sizable chunk of money in an auction to be here today to watch what Mr. Jordan and myself do every morning between 10 and 1, live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Austin, brilliant. And also, you and I will have a bit of lunch later on, if that's okay with you. Yeah. Dad's paying. Is that okay?
That's okay. Just austinspowers.com is how you can then go through the GoFundMe page. So if people do want to donate, austinspowers.com and you'll get the link.
We're not going to forget that. Warwick, thank you. Austin, super pleased to see you today.
Thank you.
Austin Hunter, we're in the presence of a very special young man. Just gone 11:30.
some of the best off-camera anecdotes from recent years at the Ryder Cup. As caddy Billy Foster went to relieve himself at the Belfry, he noticed only one of the 2 cubicles had toilet paper. Shortly after he'd sat down, Tiger Woods went into the empty cubicle and realised his mistake all too late. So Foster took some paper, reached under the cubicle with a rescue offering, and as Tiger went to take it, Foster uttered the words, "Europe, one up." Fast forward 10 years to the miraculous Medina. Rory McIlroy overslept and was in danger of missing his Sunday tee time. Thankfully, travel organiser Erica Stoll sorted him a police escort, and 3 years later, McIlroy proposed. Scottish legend Sam Torrance tells many a yarn about the great Ballesteros. Apparently, Seve would regularly give coaching clinics to his European teammates. When the same players asked for help a week later at the Italian Open, Seve would tell them to... Having started with a Billy Foster story, let's finish with one from the 12th tee at Oakland Hills in 2004. It was Jimenez and Garcia against Westwood and Clark in a practice round, and as they finished, Foster decided to jump in the buggy and speed away with all their clubs, only to lose control entirely and see it careering towards the spectators. Thankfully, the Red Sea parted and the buggy smashed into a tree, with viewers and clubs still intact.
Wow. I cannot tell you the number of messages that are coming through to us here live in talkSPORT following the chat we've just had with 14-year-old Austin Hunter and his dad Warwick. This Tom in Edinburgh. I've never contacted your show before, Jim. I feel I absolutely have to get in touch to say how impressed I was with this young man, Austin. He has a remarkable mindset. What a great listen, what a great watch. So Tom in Edinburgh is obviously watching as well. There is Mike Price. Jim, regards Austin. I'm the coach to the British wheelchair multi-Grand Slam winner Gordon Reid. Great listening to Austin this morning. If Austin would like to come down for a day and join me and Gordon, then please let him know he can do that. He can join myself, Gordon, Alfie Hewitt, Andy Lapthorne. Please let me know. Mike Price, who's the coach to the British wheelchair multi-Grand Slam winner, Gordon Reid. So I'm looking through the glass. We'll get that information, Mike, to Austin, who I think is thrilled to hear that. Austin Clark in Norfolk, from one Austin to another, the confidence, the determination from this young man, it was exceptional. I wish all his dreams come true. There is Steve. Jim, I'm a lifelong Palace fan. I don't normally wish too much joy to Brighton fans, but it changes today. I genuinely wish Austin all the very best. He's an inspiration to many. Good luck to him in the future. One just whizzed by me there, a lorry driver out there somewhere, I think in this area of London Bridge, who I'm afraid to say is in tears at the traffic lights at the moment. There's Colin. What an amazing young man Austin is. I look forward to seeing you in Brisbane for the Olympics in 2032 in wheelchair tennis, says Colin. So I'm not sure if Colin's down under at the moment or if he's looking forward to seeing you there, Austin. I mean, Simon, now and again, you and I pinch ourselves to see the reaction that certain items, topics get on this show. This one's blown our minds, hasn't it?
Yeah, a very, very strong-minded young man with a bright future ahead of him, difficulties in his life, challenges that he will see as opportunities in a different guise. I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, people texting me in of significant repute, talking about this kid's going to be a motivational speaker. You know, life throws you out difficult challenges, no more difficult than this, I suspect. And his attitude and approach will serve him in good stead, you know, and serve him in good stead to embrace the challenges of life that are coming his way. And I hope he does. You know, the tennis world is quite well known to me. I can reach into it and make some contacts with him. But you just heard somebody who's in that particular space.
Yeah.
And this is the power of the media. And this is the wonderful things it can do. And also, it only does it because this young man has got a very capable, motivated, resilient, substantial set of thinking. And I think he's got, despite the challenges, I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him. I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him. If this is the capabilities of a 13-year-old boy, Imagine what he's going to do when he's maturer and wiser and more worldly. I think it's a very optimistic future for him.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks for that. And thanks for all the messages coming in. Aaron, who describes himself as the big tradesman, is saying he's got a lump in his throat. Can't get away with how confident Austin was when he joined us and spoke so well.
Yeah, we shouldn't, though, because Austin hasn't got a lump in his throat. We should be looking and celebrating his resilience, and not any sort of sentiment of lumps in our throat about the challenges he has.
Yes, exactly. And it was great. It was great to show as well, Simon, what sport can do.
Of course.
You know?
Of course. Of course, that's the wonderful nature of sport, when we're not talking about which particular cause it can light upon. We can talk about what it can inspire people to do, what it can lift people out of. That is the purpose of sport. And he loves his sport. Tragically, he's a Brighton fan, and we'll not hold that against him. But ultimately, he loves his tennis. What a great sport for him to be involved in. What a competitive sport for him to get involved in. And he's already playing in tournaments. He's already won a tournament. He was bragging out there. Nobody likes to brag at Austin. But well done.
Austin, you brag all you like, mate. I'm sure you didn't, but thank you very much. I'll finish with Scott. Inspirational gets thrown about a heck of a lot, but in the case of this incredible young man, he absolutely deserves to be called an inspiration to millions of people. His words and his outlook, far beyond his years. Thank you, Austin, for being such an amazing young man, and you will do amazing things going forward with your life, says Scott. And we echo that. Time out for us. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live on talkSPORT. I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been sending in messages off the back of our chat with Austin Hunter and his dad Warwick. And I mentioned that John and James had joined them, and they're still here with us in the studios at talkSPORT. John and James, Simon, very kindly bid big money in an auction, a fundraising auction, to be with us today. And we want to thank them because the money they bid helps the likes of Austin and a lot of other people. Terrific effort by you, John and James, and thanks to all the people sending in messages off the back of the chat that we had there with Austin. Mark from Sheffield, yours has really caught my eye there. Thank you so much. In the meantime, it's time for this.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
And there's our favourite old pal at BetMGM, Sean Martin, who joins us live this Thursday morning. Mr. Martin, good morning. Champions League football last night. Shall we start with that?
Morning, lads. Arsenal remain the only team with a 100% Champions League record. Newcastle's late concession means probably need 2 wins from the last 2 to get automatic qualification. And of course, Man City, I heard you and Danny both saying you fancied them yesterday, Jim. And indeed, fair play, you were correct. Big win over Real Madrid, in Madrid as well, which is always notable, regardless of the form Real might have been in, and regardless of the fact that City were technically favourites. I actually watched it with the Right Honourable Charlie Robertson last night, went halfers in a bet builder, and of course his let the slide down with Vinicius Junior to score an assist, nowhere near it, ruined my week. But in the end, Arsenal remain 7-2 favourites to lift their first Champions League. Man City have come in from 8s to 6s after that win last night, and also of note is that defending champions PSG, who drew 0-0 with Athletic Bilbao, I think, last night, are second in the French top flight and are out slightly from 6-1 to 7-1 to retain the big cup, guys.
Simon, in the passing, go on, off the top of your head, who wins the Champions League?
No, I don't know. No, I don't think. If you'd have asked people last year who wins the Champions League, no one would have picked PSG.
No, true. I'm going to go out there. Manchester City. Plenty of British sides playing in Europe tonight, including Celtic, your beloved Celtic. What are you thinking?
There are plenty of other clubs in action tonight as well. Of course, Ferencváros under Robbie Keane, 4-6 favourites against Rangers, and Nottingham Forest 7-10 favourites against FC Utrecht, the same price as Aston Villa are to beat FC Basel in Switzerland. Later on, you've got Crystal Palace heavy 2-11 favourites away to Shelbourne, and Aberdeen are over 4-1 at home against Strasbourg. Both of those in the Conference League, of course. And then yes, indeed, Jim, Celtic versus Roma at Parkhead. First of all, I'll preface this by saying I'm not beyond admitting fault, and multiple people pointed out to me that I'd had a bit of a Kurt Broadfoot moment at the weekend, to egg on my face after saying to you guys, am I worried about Hearts? No, only for Hearts to of course rock up to Parkhead and beat Celtic in Wilfried Nancy's first game. He became only the 4th Celtic manager, Jim, in history to lose their first competitive game in charge. None have ever lost both of their first 2. The odds suggest that could happen tonight, because Celtic at home again, but this time 11-5 underdogs. Roma, of course, under Gianpiero Gasperini, who won this competition with Atalanta season before last. So yeah, the odds suggest there's a good chance that Nancy has lost to going into Sunday's League Cup final with St Mirren. But at the same time, maybe clutching at straws because of my personal bias here. This 3 at the back formation might lend itself to playing against a good team in Europe. So let's see.
I mean, he's had a tough baptism, hasn't he? Hearts first off, and they're going well and they lose. Roma tonight, always difficult.
Well, I mean, he was also handed over Celtic in better form. Without all the disarray that Brendan Rodgers' nonsense has created. Interesting to see Robbie Keane in Football Management, because I like Robbie. He's not that demented little leprechaun jumping around a Qatar paddle tennis court, breaking my paddle tennis bat. He's doing very well in Football Management, so I'll be interested to see how he gets on with his career, because they're doing well in the Hungarian league. So interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
And the World Darts Championship, what are you giving us there then, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I love the darts, lads. It's probably between that and boxing after football for me personally, and I seen first-hand with the BetMGM Premier League that the amount of folk who just seem to be into darts now is just incredible. Incidentally, neither of you fancy throwing your hat in the ring for the talkSPORT Championship against Saunders and Co?
Well, no, we didn't. We were otherwise engaged, but I'm pushing 12. Simon to do it next year, because sparing his blushes, he's decent. He's decent with the darts.
Yeah, well, I'm not 12. I've got better things to do.
You're not 12. Okay, so the World Darts Championship, who's going to win it? And incidentally, Sean, what do you guys at BetMGM think? Do you think behind football, it's the UK's biggest sport, darts?
I mean, I can talk personally. As I say, it's either that or boxing for me behind football. In terms of actually betting, I think darts would probably be third or fourth, maybe. But as I say, Luke Littler effect for one has just saw the interest in it just totally hit the stratosphere the last couple of years. So speaking of Luke Littler, unsurprisingly, he is the defending champ and favourite to go back to back. Would be the first player to win the PDC World Championship back to back since Gary Anderson 10 years ago. It's a field of 128 players this year, which just makes it a wee bit even scarier that Littler is still odds on to win it, which is ridiculous stuff really. Very Phil Taylor-esque is probably the highest compliment I can give him on that front. Luke Humphries next in the betting at 4-1, and the two Lukes are 3-1 to meet in the final like they did in 2024. Plenty of big names at decent prices because of that Littler effect. Van Gerwen 20-1 made the final last year, remember. Josh Rock in the same quarter as him, he's 14s. So people of that ilk might attract a few, even as an each way selection, given the odds are very decent. And of course, quite a few eyes on the 9 darter markets as well. There were 2 last year. It's 6-4 for 2 or more to be hit this time too. Every chance of that landing, given we've seen a record-breaking 5 9 darters in the Premier League this season, of course. Littler himself, 4-1 to hit one at any stage, and he's in action straight away as he plays in the opening session tonight against Darius Libanauskas. Extremely short odds to win the match, Jim, but perhaps a nice wee alternative is Littler to reel in the big fish tonight. So a 170 finish was 14-1, lads, but we've boosted that to 16s for the occasion, so keep an eye for that.
Sean, thank you very much indeed. Remember, visit betmgm.co.uk, download the app, 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
In the meantime, it's time for this.
Business briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Are you a small retailer? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
And one of the top business stories with Tesco Mobile for Business involves a certain club and a certain player. That club is Aston Villa and the player is Harvey Elliott. Simon, Unai Emery said Villa are speaking to Harvey Elliott about his position at the club, but I just wonder if Villa have sold Elliott a pup here. Elliott turned down moves abroad in the summer to instead join Villa on loan from Liverpool. That was back on deadline day. The deal, as far as I gather, includes an obligation to make the transfer permanent next summer if he makes 10 appearances for them this season. So far, he's made 5. Now, Liverpool sources have indicated that the final transfer fee would be 35 million. Villa say it would be closer to about 30 million. Nonetheless, Unai Emery has been speaking about Harvey Elliott. And he says, we're speaking with him about his situation. He wasn't with them in Europe during the week. He says, hopefully we can get the best for him and the best for us. I respect him as a player and as a person. But we have one circumstance with him. Hopefully we can get a solution for him to try to play consistently and try to continue in his career with us or not with us. Firstly, my decision is a sport decision. And secondly, he's on loan playing with us. He's not definite to move to us with a permanent contract. So Elliott's gone there with the best will in the world, hoping he's going to get game time. But he's not getting that. I wonder if he and his agent were sold something of a pup by Villa.
Well, I don't see why they would have been. I mean, Aston Villa are flying. Well, they're 3rd in the Premier League, 3rd in the Europa League. He can't get in the team. And that's just an unfortunate set of circumstances that the players that are ahead of him are doing so well. What would you do? Take them out of the team, break up the rhythm of the side that's going in such great nick now. It started badly, has gotten into its rhythm now. You're not going to change the side. So he's going to have to force his way into the side.
Well, there's a suggestion that they don't want to play him and get to the magic 10 appearances because that is when it would kick in.
But that's a suggestion. Who's making that suggestion then? That's just an assumption because they've signed a deal that potentially triggers a liability. There's always that suggestion. There was always that influence about players that get bonuses based upon a certain amount of games or obligations that are triggered as a result of it. If he plays for, I mean, first of all, I would have thought they would have wanted to put more than 10 games in there as a caveat for triggering a £35 million transfer. I would have thought that 10 games, I'm assuming it's starting lineup rather than just coming on as a playing sub, but notwithstanding that, 10 games.
10 appearances.
10 appearances starting
lineup. It doesn't seem that many.
Well, that's my point. That to me looks like whilst I think he's an okay player, I don't think he's a world beater. And I think where Aston Villa are at this moment in time is there's no case to get him in his side. It's not their job to get him in their side so they can trigger a liability. It's also not their job, which is why Emery's pushing back against the underlying assertion that might have been made by some smart arse, suggesting that Villa are trying to avoid the obligations that they might have entered into willingly at the beginning of the season and now don't feel so willingly about it.
Well, he did make the point, my decision is a sport decision.
Well, that's probably because he's reading the room. It's probably because he's understanding, as he either been asked directly or is reading the influences that perhaps Villa are not being fair to this kid. And look, if Emery strikes me as the sort of person that wants his best shoulders to the wheel, and if Harvey Elliott was his best shoulder, it'd be to the wheel. And so he's not going to he's not as a football manager going to go, well, I don't want to cost my club any money. If he wanted him and was prepared to enter into a conversation where the player was part of a setup, if he played 10 games, I think that's a fool's errand, because I don't think you trigger a value of 35 million quid at Aston Villa by playing 10 games in the season.
Maybe it was a Monchi signing, who of course departed after the transfer window.
But also the same ownership model of the two very influential owners of Aston Villa would have been sanctioning that. The same manager was in situ, so everyone knew what the circumstance was, and they must have been comfortable as a caveat to get him to come to Villa.
Okay.
That he got a certain dynamic. Well, but I don't think it's because he's being treated unfairly. It's because the team's doing so well.
There's Mike, who's a Villa fan, I think. We're all suggesting that this is the reason he's not playing. Loads of opportunities. He should have played or even come on. We also think the reason is why Monchi left. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe behind closed doors.
So Villa are bad actors, are they?
No,
they're not.
I don't think so. What I would say is we interviewed Harvey Elliott on one occasion for this very show, and he was a delightful young man. Let's see if he can get game time opportunity in the coming days and weeks. That was a roundup of football's top business stories with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Business briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Are you a small retailer? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 5 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. We're live on your telly as well, even on Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch us, you will find us. Of that, there is no doubt. No walk-on music for Spencer Oliver you will have detected during the next boxing hour, because Spencer is not in this country at the moment. He's off out sunning himself, but working hard. Of that, there is no doubt. Our guest for the next hour, he's no guest, he's our chum, Adi Oladipo, talkSPORT's fight pundit and host of DAZN, joins us as we look ahead to the forthcoming fight. And God only knows what that's going to throw up between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua in Miami, Florida. It's 1 week away.
They say I'm unproven, untested, that I talk big and fight small. Well, surprise.
It's time for America to see what real power looks like. I want to see who's still talking when this right hand flies.
This is the fight that shuts everyone up.
This is the fight that shuts man down.
This is the moment. This is what you want in boxing. Incredible. What a shot. It is lights out.
Judgment Day. Friday, December the 19th. It's almost upon us. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. That was a teaser on Netflix. Adi is with us for the next hour. Adi, good afternoon. How on earth have we got here?
It all started one day,
I don't know. Ultimately, money makes the world go around. There's a lot of money involved in this particular event. There are two big personalities. One that's done it from the YouTube world, but, to be fair, has stepped into the squared circle as well and had some fights. And one's done it from the boxing world. And these two behemoths are coming together on a platform that is really trying to show that they're here to stay when it comes to not just boxing, but sport. And a lot of people will watch it. It's madness, but it's madness that's almost must-see madness. Like, everyone will tune in. I think it will do as big a numbers as Canelo Crawford. In that sense, I'm thinking, considering what that was. And yeah, I am still surprised that, and I know Nikisa will probably sort of push back on this, I'm still surprised it's been sanctioned and that it's not a quote-unquote exhibition fight. But then again, I watch fights all over the world. I've been ringside for some fights that I'm like, how has that been sanctioned? So I guess me and Simon have said this before, boxing's the wild, wild west. And as long as there's enough powerful people and money involved, things will get over the line. And this is one of those things.
I think I heard you mention there are two behemoths involved here. How is Jake Paul a behemoth?
He's a behemoth in terms of his following and in terms of the pulling power he has. He's now, whether hardcore boxing fans want to admit this, he's one of the faces of boxing. And that's saying something. Like, the amount of people that put their hands up to want to fight Jake Paul when they realised the Gervonta Davis fight weren't happening. He can... Like, Alexander Usyk says he wants to fight him. Yeah, like that's the one of the biggest names in the sport. There aren't that many people.
You love this sport, Addy, and you love working in it. Is it an uncomfortable truth, if you like, that Jake Paul is part of the top flight boxing scene?
No, it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. But but I also know
uncomfortable or not.
No, it's not uncomfortable. I mean, boxing's now become a 365-day-a-year sport. There seems to be events on every single day. I can live with Jake Paul having 2 of those days, knowing that I'm still going to get decent fights for the majority of the year. So yes, sometimes I tune in and it's a Jake Paul thing, and I'm like, but then I also know I'm getting Bivol Beterbiev in a couple of weeks. I'm getting Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo.
What, the real stuff?
Yeah, I'm getting the real stuff. So I can live with this, but I'm not going to pretend to be an idiot by saying I'm not going to watch it, because I am. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Oh yeah.
I need to see what's going to happen here.
Do you think, Simon, that yes, it's fine and it's true that Jake Paul has become a face of boxing?
I think he's part of the financial tapestry of boxing. I don't think he's a face of boxing. I don't think he represents boxing as the sport in any significance. He represents the commercial opportunities. It's no coincidence that this product lands at Netflix, which is an entertainment business. So as far as boxing as a sport is concerned, Jake Paul is utilising the recognisability for some reason that he has. I don't know, with no disrespect to the kid intended, he's made a fortune, and fair play to him. I admire anybody that's got the entrepreneurial spirit to be successful in the world. I don't know what he's famous for. He's now utilising boxing, and he's bringing an audience. Netflix are looking at this and going, let's have a look at this. We put Tyson versus Jake Paul on. Our lifetime value of a subscriber is $900. We got 2 million extra subscribers out of that. That's 1.8 billion, and we paid them 100 million to do it. Good business if we can get it. It crosses over entertainment. It brings an opportunity. The bigger question is how does it draw Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk into the equation? And the only reason it draws them into the equation is because it's an easy night's work for 75 million quid. Everybody would do it. Every fighter would take it because it's not really fighting. The consequence of it is, the reasons why it's in Florida is because it's one of those Wild West states that will license something like this, because no grown-up state really would license a fight of this significance in terms of a former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world against, at best, an area level fighter.
Yeah. Well, as you might imagine, and back with Addy and Simon in a moment, Jake Paul has been building up to this fight as only Jake Paul can do, and he's been showing off a black eye. He's been sporting a black eye, and he was more than happy to show that off to his mates. Have a listen.
Wait, is your eye okay? How'd that happen? Who are you sparring?
I'm sparring a bunch of world champion heavyweights. I think Lawrence Okoli did that to me. He's like 6'6", 270.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you weighing right now?
I'm like 215.
Get to what weight to fight AJ?
218, 220.
What's AJ's weight? 220?
He'll be like 250 in the ring.
Huh? 250?
Yeah.
Jake, 250 pounds he's going to fight at.
Yeah. It's definitely a pretty wild fight, my brother.
I've been sparring a bunch of heavyweights. I think it was Lawrence Okoli who hit me. Do you think he can win, Addy?
Absolutely not. No chance. No way. I don't even think, and this is being very serious, this shouldn't go beyond a round. Shouldn't go beyond a round. There's no way, and Simon said it, this is a former unified heavyweight champion of the world that I still believe is a top 10 heavyweight against, at best, an area level fighter. If AJ was fighting an area level heavyweight now, it wouldn't go beyond a round. I'd expect AJ to get rid of him, let alone AJ being 40 pounds heavier. The Americans look at AJ slightly different to how we do. They look at him as someone that's washed up. When he was in their country, he got beat by Andy Ruiz, who's not gone on to do anything. If Andy Ruiz went on to have this glittering career, then it maybe would have made that defeat look a lot bigger. They watched him recently get defeated by Daniel Dubois. They think he's done. So they don't have respect for him maybe the way we do over here. So Jake thinks he can win. I've been around Jake and he's delusional, but he's very strong-minded. So he thinks he can win, but there's no way this should go beyond 3 minutes.
Who's the A side? Who walks into the ring first?
AJ walks into the ring first, so Jake Paul's the A side. It does say Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, not Anthony Joshua versus Jake.
So AJ goes into the ring first?
AJ goes into the ring first, which I think would be only the second time in his career, I believe.
And then the big build-up for Jake Paul to walk in.
Yeah, but ultimately, if I'm AJ, look, there would have been options that would have been put across his desk. Maybe a Tony Yoka would have been put across his desk for a fifth of this. Jake Paul comes across your desk. You're thinking this must be a joke, and it says 60 million on it. You're gonna take it. You're gonna take it. And if you're A side, your B side, even if there's a C side, you're gonna be happy to take that. Get to America, have a sparring session, and come back home.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Addy mentioning Andy Ruiz Jr. 6 years ago this week, Joshua got his revenge on Ruiz Jr., Simon, and won the IBF, WBA, WBO heavyweight titles in Saudi Arabia.
I don't think Andy Ruiz has stepped out the larder since then, has he?
If somebody had said to AJ that night, 6 years from now, you're going in against a YouTuber, he'd be like, you kidding me?
Yeah, but the world turns. I mean, I try to ask people what this fight looks like, and is there any capability for Jake Paul to stay out of Anthony Joshua's way long enough to take it past a round? Is there any capability that he has? Because if he steps into range, he's going to get knocked out and he's going to get hurt. I speak to Hearn about it. Are you worried about him getting hurt? Of course not, because then he's going to get a big bag of money. But the fact is, he thinks that Joshua will get him out there with a cluster of punches rather than one big shot that knocks Ngannou out, because Jake Paul won't put himself in the range of being hit on the chin like Ngannou did. But no one can make a case. None of the fighters that I talked to, whether you talk to Paul Smith or anyone else I've spoken to, Angel Fernandez talking about it, it was Anthony Joshua's training the other day, they don't think he's got the footwork to be able to keep out of Anthony Joshua's way. Even if Anthony Joshua wants to go in there half-cocked and carry him like Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull did for a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Even if he wanted to do that, Jake Paul hasn't got anything to be able to get out of the way.
Well, as we said, Addy, 6 years ago, Anthony Joshua more or less revived his career by seeing Andy Ruiz Jr. off. Where's his career after this one? Presuming he wins very comfortably, what would be next for Anthony Joshua?
It's all mapped out, isn't it? I mean,
Soppy Bob's packed up, hasn't he, again?
Yeah,
he's
Tyson Fury
he's now back in the mix.
He's now back in.
Tyson Fury?
Yeah, he put out an Instagram post.
I'm back.
Pretty much.
No one's talking about me.
Yeah. So it's mapped out, isn't it? I mean, Turkey was on stage in the Ben Eubank fight and said, didn't he, that he wants AJ to fight in February and then in September. So I'm guessing February is a top 20 guy, and then September they're hoping finally will be Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. If this fight goes past against Jake Paul, goes past 3 or 4 rounds, it completely just scuppers those plans. Like AJ needs to get rid of Jake Paul the way we saw Ben Whittaker get rid of Benjamin Gavazzi. When you're in there against someone that is substandard and below your level, make them look substandard and everyone move on and everyone
blast
can pack
him
up
out.
and go.
Or the way AJ got rid of Ngannou.
Yeah, very, very quickly, just when I mentioned Jake Paul being the face of boxing, not just him, I think what he does do that I think does deserve to be credited or at least accepted is what he does for female boxing. Like what he's done for the MVP promotions.
Just signed Caroline Dubois, hasn't he?
Yeah, just signed Caroline Dubois. I mean, he's helped put on 3 fights for Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, where they would have earned career best paydays. Right. So I think he's done a lot for that side of boxing. So yes, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea when he steps in the ring, but what he does in terms of his promotional company, I think it's been really good for the sport.
Many of you getting in touch. Here's Chris. Jake Paul should have called out Chisora or Dillian White. AJ will destroy him. We'll see what happens, but it's fast approaching. Jake Paul, what's it going to be on the night? The winner or heavily defeated? We shall see. Addy's alongside Simon and himself. We're live in talkSPORT. Now, talkSPORT and Pitch Experiences are giving you the chance to experience the events of the year. I'm not talking about Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I'm talking about the PDC World Darts Championship at Ali Pali on December the 23rd. You and 3 mates could be living at large with platinum seats, fine dining, a complimentary bar, and exclusive access to the 501 lounge with Russ, the Voice, Bray. And then it's straight to your prime arena table for the best view in the house. Get ready for an unforgettable Ali Pali Christmas, and here's how you can be there. For your chance to win, text DARTS to 83338. Text costs £2 plus your standard network rate, or the number to call is 03434 217 508. Lines close at 4 o'clock, December the 18th, and that's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus and UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text DARTS now to 83338. This is a network promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com. It is Jim White, it is Simon Jordan, and it is Adiola Depot, and we are live on talkSPORT. Many people, just before we move on, Addy, many people are saying exactly what you said about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. It's so blinking intriguing. Yeah. You can't miss it.
Yeah, you honestly can't. I had no interest, by the way, in Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Zero interest. I even watched that, so that says a lot about me. But this one, there is a level of intrigue. Is Jake going to run around? I mean, can he close his eyes and, I dare say, land a right hand? I mean, will AJ get rid of him? I mean, there's been a lot of talk, and I don't believe it's true, that Jake Paul's fights are rigged and fixed. If AJ goes 5 or 6 rounds, then that's going to come to the fore even more, isn't it? So, look, I will stand firm in my beliefs that AJ should and will get rid of him in under 3 minutes.
We're going to head off out to Dubai very shortly. Before we do that and speak to one big name in boxing, I can assure you of that. Former WBO heavyweight champion Joseph Parker has spoken publicly for the first time since he tested positive for cocaine in October on the day of his defeat in the ring to Fabio Wardley. And, of course, Parker is saying that he's innocent, as you might expect. And Joseph Parker's been in this very studio with you and I, Simon, and we find him to be a thoroughly decent gentleman. He says, I was devastated. You have to do all these voluntary drug tests in camp, and then all of a sudden you get a bit of a surprise and a shock that you fail on a fight day. So I'm just going to go through the process of trying to get it cleared, and I want to be in the ring as soon as possible. When you heard about this, Addy, and you're steeped in this sport, what was your initial reaction?
Stunned. Surprised, just because when you hear sort of boxing and drugs, you assume it's a performance-enhancing drug. So I expected there's some sort of he's failed for clomiphene or something along those lines. When you hear cocaine, there is a level of surprise. I've been around Joseph Parker for years, and I'm not just trying to say this to defend him. One of the nicest people in boxing, nicest. And when you think what was at stake in that fight as well, you know, if he was to win, he was going to go and fight Alexander Usyk for everything. Why risk it when the carrot that's been dangled in front of your face is worth hundreds of millions in the pot? You're that close to the promised land. Why risk it? So I was surprised, but this isn't the first instance we've had of a boxer with a recreational drug. And I don't think it's going to be the last. So I wait to see the outcome. Hopefully there is a level of innocence that can be proved and he can get on with his career, because at his age, you're looking at a 2 to 4 year ban. And that'll be the end of Joseph Parker. So fingers crossed he can prove he's innocent.
Okay, so much for Joseph Parker. Certainly still a very big name in the world of boxing. And here's another. And we're about to join him live in Dubai. He's at an IBA event over in that part of the world. So let's head there now. Deontay Wilder, welcome to the show on talkSPORT. How are you?
Yeah, baby, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Baby, we're doing well as well. I'm with Simon Jordan and Adiola Depot. Deontay, it's great to have you on the show. You have been in this very studio with Simon and myself before, and it's a great thrill to speak to you over in Dubai. What are you doing in that part of the world?
Right. Oh man, it's a beautiful place over here. You know, it's just like people always say I'm tall, and I always say the average is different, and the average is different over here these times around with all the big fights that's going on. And we got great fights over here. I'm here with the IBA, with the Palouf and Gassif fight, which is going to be a great fight while it lasts. And we're here for as you can see, we're here for I guess this is the semifinals for the Worlds. And these guys are getting it on right now. It remind me of the amateur pedigree of things as far as boxing. I haven't seen, amateur boxing and guys, coming up in the ranking and coming to an actual fight in a long time. So this is a real treat for me right now.
Right. Now,
and, I'm just looking forward to all the
thanks, Deontay. I've got Simon
just looking
here.
for everything that's here.
Sure thing. Addy's here, and so is Simon. They're going to come in a second. Recently, there was a conversation about you maybe heading into the ring with Alexander Usyk. Is that becoming more of a conversation? Is this going to happen?
Yeah, it's definitely becoming more of a conversation, a real conversation as that, and boxing is a business, and, sometimes business, you can have solid business and then it falls through, many times you see that, and then most of the times, if we're lucky and God blesses us, we get the great fights and they happen, and great things come from that, great memories for sure. And right now we're definitely in talks of that fight, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Once I get the final say so of how things are and the final details of things, and I know for sure that it's on, then my heart will be pumping, my blood will be boiling, and that's when the excitement happens and get ready to go to camp.
Deontay, Addy here. You look great, by the way. You sound great. It's good to see you in good spirits. Was you surprised by the call out?
I wasn't. I was like, I would be 50-50. I would say that I was 50-50. I never get opportunities. Nobody really ever give me chances. Especially coming up. They always talk about the power and stuff like that, and when you have power like that, you get less chances. And I guess after the losses and stuff, people get brave now. They get brave, they get more confident, and they're willing to call you out a little bit more. It's crazy how you have more chances when people think you're down and out or don't have it than when you're at the top and you're knocking guys out. But I've never left. My mind probably left a little bit. A lot of things was going on in my personal life. I just couldn't manage myself. After 3 therapists and sports psychologists, God is good. That's all I can say. That's why I'm so happy now. I'm just so delighted.
I can hear the bronze bomber coming back in your voice there. I can hear a little bit of the bronze bomber coming back. You mentioned that negotiations are happening, conversations are happening. Are we so far afield that we have a month, a day, a venue? I mean, Usyk's recent fights have been in the UK and in Saudi. I mean, are we potentially talking about a fight in America? How far afield are we?
Oh man, you got so many details, and
I ask a lot of questions,
but I can't reveal it at this moment. I can't. I mean, I got some of the answers, and some of the answers are blurry and not yet in order. And you just don't talk boxing business when it's immature. And right now is an immature moment in time, or I would say not immature. I would say premature. I would say because it's not nothing really in order at this moment in time, or full effect. So I don't want to announce anything that's still lingering around of certain things that's going to be in maybe a contract or a negotiation or things like that. So
if
I don't really want to speak on it just yet prematurely.
Sure.
Exactly. I don't want it, because the thing is, what happened is so many people are excited, the fans and stuff. It's crazy. Like, my social media has been going crazy with the comments and the media. And I mean, as far as people messaging, even in the streets wise and stuff. And one of the things that you don't want to do is false advertise something, get the hopes up, give people hearts and blood boiling and pumping like mines, and then when you put something out there, they're expecting that because they're listening to every word that you're saying, and they're holding it, and then if it doesn't happen, you can lose fans over it.
Fair point, Deontay. Fair point.
If it don't happen or something like that. So
Deontay, what are we?
We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it held and wait till it when it finally everything is in order so we can put out a big splash, you know.
I get what you're saying. We're a week away from Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What have we got here?
Man, I mean, that's been a good question. Well, that's been a good question that everybody wants to know, you know. And when I look at the fights and stuff like that, you know, it's good. As I look at it, you know, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant, I would say. I would put that would be a great term I would put in there. Keep boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, you know, because, you know, we in the business of boxing. That right there is just, you know, exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight, but yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in there fighting. I mean, it's gonna be, but other than that, I mean, you know, as far as a boxing sense of what we're looking at and all these guys and stuff like that, you know, how real it is, what it will elevate to, you know, and things like that. Exhibition, you know, I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see, you know. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have a hell of a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about, having a great time, a lot of fun, and getting out there safely and having great memories that have been built behind it to last forever.
Deontay Wilder, it's been a joy having you on with us back here in London. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, and you always know, Bob Squad!
Deontay, thank you very much indeed. We'll get our ears treated just after this break.
We know sport is full of money, and when it comes to exhibition matches, it is the cash involved that gets them off the ground. But that's what makes it even more annoying if the event falls flat. When Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul, 65 million people streamed it on Netflix, but many people complained of buffering and freezing, and the fight itself wasn't that great either. So fans got shortchanged, while Tyson and Paul took home around $60 million between them. Another one with a huge prize pot was Tiger versus Phil in 2018. That had £9 million. But again, the pay-per-view had streaming issues. Miking up the players was an anticlimax too, and the golf itself was bang average. When Ronaldo went to Saudi, we all knew money was the driving force, given his salary of £177 million a year. But then they thought, let's get Messi over for a game. So we had PSG versus the Riyadh All-Stars. Both the GOATs were past their best, but PSG still lined their pockets, charging fans a few pounds to watch it on their official channels. Although it wasn't quite as bad as the 75 quid pay-per-view where Mayweather fought McGregor. I feel like what we really need is constantly high-quality action delivered to you for free. And that, my friends, is called talkSPORT.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Yeah, we have loads of boxing coming your way, including this Saturday. Massive fight. Two undefeated super middleweights, Diego Pacheco and Kevin Lili Saggio clash for the WBC and WBO international titles. And a world title shot, and we can watch that live this Saturday, only on DAZN.
Absolutely perfect. It was only right, was it not, Simon, that the DAZN host Adi Oladipo should do that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And did it with panache. Seriously, you should think about this as a career, mate.
Yeah, I've tried.
Honestly, terrific stuff. Misfits Boxing with KSI and the Sauerland brothers has typically been the home for YouTubers, as we all know, but they've now launched the MF Pro division. What is that? It aims to showcase traditional boxing boxers who are professional, alongside crossover offerings, if you like. So the professional fighters are in there now. And one of their first signings is British cruiserweight champion Vidal Riley, who, of course, won the British title in a unanimous decision win over Chivon Clark in April. That was on the Eubank Jr. Ben undercard. And I'm delighted to say that cruiserweight champion Vidal joins us live in studio this lunchtime. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, man.
All the big names are with us. Deontay Wilder. Vidal Riley is with us. Listen, first and foremost, since leaving Boxer, you were linked, Vidal, with a few promotions, including Matchroom. So why Misfits Pro?
I was blessed to have a offer from everyone when, I left Boxer, when I was declared a free agent. And that includes MVP as well. So there was a lot to think about. I sat down, I spoke to my team, spoke to my management. We're thinking about what the next best move is for me, not for people or what people want to see. And when I got, the call about MF Pro, my initial reaction was, no, I'm not doing that. Like I've said what I want to do. I want to have a traditional path. I don't want to be associated with that community. I've said all those things. And they said, right, this is going to be a pro division. This is going to be cards that are only pros. You will still be able to do everything that you said you're going to set out to do, but just combine where majority of your following comes from and fight under that banner. So for me, it made sense because I can make the content that I make and have it appreciated by the community that have chosen to follow me, and also still fight my mandatory, still have purse bids, still do all the things that, the road to a world title looks like.
I like that.
Yes.
So you, Addy?
I was surprised. Let me not pretend I was surprised. I just assumed 100% it was going to be Matchroom. I don't know why. I just thought he's going to sign because I thought Eddie's definitely going to look at Vidal as someone that has that crossover appeal, very much like a Ben Whittaker. I've always thought, and I've put pressure on Vidal because I've said Vidal's going to be a world champion.
And you have said that, yeah.
We sometimes go to the same gym. I see him there, train. So I've always been a big fan of Vidal. And because I've done the Misfits scene, I presented Misfits events for nearly 2 years. And I've always just separated the two. I've said, okay, that's misfits and it has a certain appeal to a certain person, and then there's real boxing. So I guess the question is, can MF Pro attract the eyes that people view when they watch Matchroom and they watch Queensberry and they watch, as you say, the MVP shows?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a spillover from the crossover scene? I think that's the risk for Vidal. But Vidal's almost like the perfect person to see if this works because he's got his foot in both scenes.
Do you view it as a risk?
Everything's a risk. I mean, it's a big decision to make, but we live for risks. You know, you got to take them to move forward. And yeah, this is a calculated one. You know, we don't take irrational risks, but this was a calculated risk. It's been not only worded to me, but written as well, which we know is important, of what my standing will be and how that looks going forward. I look forward to seeing crowds merge. You know, we're going to have guys that drink 20 pints. They want to have a night out with the guys and watch the boxing. And we're also going to have families in there because there's going to be a 9-year-old that asks their parent, can we go and see his fight, please? And I might meet KSI tonight. So,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
pretty
there's
enough, Simon, isn't it? It's different.
A ticket's a ticket.
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you listen to this young man speak before, when he's been in the studio before, you know the origins of his thinking and his background. You know what his audience base was. So it's not surprising to me that there's synergy. Whether you don't want to move past the stigma of the Misfits branding and what that's been, there's a lot of synergy in the potential crossover audience benefits. The interesting thing will be at the broadcast, not the events themselves, but the broadcast capability and what that does for you. Because in the end of the day, live events get you a certain point, broadcast opportunities get you to another.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how much cachet they have getting him the fights that he wants to have.
Yeah.
That's what we're really talking about.
Was it an amicable parting of the ways between yourself and Ben Shalom at Boxer?
Yeah, it was as amicable as it could be. You know, I mean, in the position that Ben's currently in, he wants to keep the best fighters that he has under his stable. You know, and it's not going to be, you know, I'm happy to see you go vibe. But it also wasn't any beef. You know, it was just a matter of, we've come to this point. I'm in the position I'm in. I've worked hard to get here. The more you grow in boxing, the more power you get, and you can now start to pick how you want your career to look. And in that position, I made the decision to go with MF Pro.
But did you not think that Ben and Boxer Vidal could take you to the next level?
I wasn't sure, and that's why I didn't sign the contract. I wasn't sure. I mean, I've been with Boxer to obtain the English title and the British title, but then there's a difference between winning titles and being the face and being the star. And I think with boxing being a sport that can easily fall into not being mainstream anymore based on how many things are going on in the world, I need to give myself the best chance to be the face, be the star, be pushed, help my brand, help all elements of my brand. And I think MF Pro leans perfectly into that.
So what's the pathway going forward with MF Pro?
Oh, the pathway is, obviously, I got a mandatory for the British title that's still being negotiated. Also negotiating for the EBU as well against Masternak. And either of those fights should land in Q1 of 2026. And then I don't really look further than that. I've been in the game.
We want Aloy's Junior fight. That's what we want. We want the
I
Aloy's
think
Junior
the people want that for
the people have been screaming.
energy
I'm getting
of it.
texts now. The people are screaming for Aloy's Junior.
I mean, I would love to punch out Aloy's for the things that he said earlier this year. I would love to, but it's business.
What did
and
he
we're
say?
in here to level up.
What did he say about you?
I can't quote everything that he said, but he said a lot of things. He was obviously calling me a coward and things I don't.
Some things are for 9 p.m.
Things I don't.
Some things are for 9
some things for the late night show.
Yeah, sports bar. Tune in sports
and
bar
I mean,
10 o'clock.
I don't blame him. I mean, you're not supposed to compliment your enemies or your rivals. I don't blame him. But you know, just where I'm from, if you say certain things about people, there's comeuppance.
Yeah,
and I'll be happy. I would be happy to do that. But if I can have the European title fight sooner than I thought, because I didn't think that opportunity would arise until April. If that can be made sooner, I'll fight for the EBU and continue my journey.
So you're 28, right?
Yeah.
Simon, do you think this boy beside you is going to become a world champion?
Depends who he fights. Depends what opportunities are facilitated. If Jaya Patai steps out of the cruiserweights and moves into a different division, which eventually he's going to have to do. I mean, listen, he's won the British, which is a great achievement. He doesn't want to stop there. I think he can beat Masternak. I think Masternak, we've seen Masternak. We saw Masternak get beat by Chris Billham-Smith when Chris Billham-Smith was in a different space. I don't know. I mean, styles make fights. Levels get determined when you see them step up. And when we see him step up a level, that question will be asked and answered. He'll tell you yes, and so he should.
Vidal, the small matter of Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua a week away from us now. Get your thoughts on that and a bunch of other things before we go at 1. We're back after this. We're talking boxing this Thursday lunchtime. It is coming up to 10 to 1. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Adi Oladipo, and I'm delighted we have in our presence British Cruiserweight Champion Vidal Riley, who is with us for the next few minutes, certainly, as we approach 1 o'clock. Vidal, Jai Opetaia in the Cruiserweight division fought this week, retained his IBF ring Cruiserweight titles. Demolition job over this fella, Hussein Sin-Cara. Much further down the line. If the two of you were to meet, would that be something an opportunity you would welcome? And when you consider what Opetaia is all about, he is one wrecking ball. I mean, this man Sin-Cara was hospitalised after suffering a brain contusion, small brain bleed, fractured a C1 vertebrae. I mean, he was left in a dreadful state.
Yeah, he was, and I hope he's doing well. And it's always the risks of fighting. You know, these things can happen. That's why we have to train so hard and prepare to withstand potential punishment. But a fight with Opetaia, when I'm ready to fight for a world title, if he is still a world champion and that's where I'm best aligned, I'll fight him. I mean, it's just I'm a fighter, innit? So I'm not one of those people who will say, "Oh, I'll fight him tomorrow," because now you're just trying to get clicks. But when the time is right, and I've had the progression that I need where it's sufficient enough to fight an elite opponent like himself, I'll fight him.
How do you view the cruiserweight division?
I think it's moving, it's transitioning, it's in a transitional phase right now. I think it's about to get exciting, in fact, because I think a lot of the light heavies who have failed their world quest there will try at cruiser. Light heavyweight division has a lot more talent than the cruiserweight division. And I think people that may have come up a bit short there will try their chances at cruiser. You know, we could see a Callum Smith at cruiser. Not saying that he's failed, but I'm just saying someone who's at that stage who can move on and is big enough to do so. We could potentially see Yard at cruiserweight. I think there's quite a few people who are going to come into the division in the next few years, and the world champions will definitely change.
It's interesting, actually, because I spoke to Beterbiev about jumping to cruiser, and he's like, yeah, he wants to jump to cruiser as well. He wants that one crack at becoming a two-weight world champion. And there's always been a lot of talk about Jar Pataya versus Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Almost like brick versus brick. And he's a massive light heavyweight, Beterbiev. I have no idea how he makes 175, as is Yard. These guys are huge. Like if Yard was to sit there right now next to you, you'd think you're the same weight class because he's that big. So I think it's a good shout. I do think we are going to see a lot of light heavyweights jump up and be small cruiserweights. And small. You
just about to see it. David Benavidez is stepping up to fight Zerda Ramirez.
There we go.
There you go.
And Benavidez.
And let's not forget who Zerda was. He was a super middleweight before, and he's jumped up. So
were you aware, Simon, the cruiserweight division is budding, as Vidal is suggesting?
I think if you can make those, I don't know whether Callum Smith is going to jump up to cruiser, but because I think he wants a shot at the super middleweight opportunities. Whether they're going to deny him those opportunities is another thing. He's fighting David Morrell next, isn't he? But the fact of the matter is that if you make these assumptions that the super middles are going to jump into the light heavyweight, it pads the division out, because I do think it's a little bit light in terms of the quality that's there. We've got the usual suspects buzzing around, which is the CBSs of the world that can make their reboot their careers if they get good wins. We've got Jack Massey if he's still fighting. We've got other people that are around. And those are the sort of fights I'd like to see him in. I'd like to see him fight the kid that's calling him out. And I think Frank Warren thinks he'll have that fight all day, every day of the week, twice on Sunday with Eloise.
We'll see.
So we'll see. But listen, look, I want to see good British. I think he's a personality. I think he's got character. He's very smart as well.
Vidal.
Yeah, and that's why he's made this career choice.
You're only saying that because you sit beside
No, I sat listened to him last time he was in the studio.
All right.
Didn't I?
You did.
Absolutely.
You did.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Vidal, as you are with us, and of course, we know what you're doing now in the MF Pro division. So wherever that takes you, we wish you well. And of course, we've seen what individuals like KSI have achieved in the boxing world, and all credit to him. He's done well. What are we going to see in Miami in a few days from now when AJ gets in there with Jake Paul? We spoke to Deontay Wilder in Dubai moments ago, and he told us what he thinks of it. What do you think of it?
I expect to see AJ put in a demolition on him. I've been using this word all week, so I'm using it today as well. An obliviation. That's what I expect to see from AJ. I don't put rounds on it. I'm not one of them people, if you don't get him out in 2 rounds. Because things happen in fights. It's a 24-foot ring. Jake Paul can run around the ring if he doesn't want to attack, and that sometimes takes a couple rounds. I'm not worried about how long it goes. It's about the finish, and it's about it not looking an ounce competitive. As long as that happens, we get what we want.
I mean, many people are surprised that this was given a go-ahead, and that Jake Paul, and God forbid, gets seriously hurt.
This is a true reality of the game. We was just speaking about Sin Cara, someone who's a trained mandatory world level fighter who can end up in the hospital. So Jake Paul is not immune to that outcome. God forbid it happens, because everyone's just trying to make a bit of money, and it kind of ruins everything if that is the outcome. As much as people say, we want to see AJ kill him or whatever, you don't really. Well, I don't. It affects the game. It affects the infrastructure of everything. But we would like to see a KO where he's completely fine after.
I mean, Addy said earlier on that Jake Paul is now undeniably one of the faces of boxing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And the reason why is because the most famous people in the world are now internet personalities. Back in the day, everyone wanted to be Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston or Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson, but people want to be Casanat Speed or one of
Aiden
Ross or Kick or a Neon, or these sort of guys. These are now the people that kids want to be when they grow up. And if we associate ourselves with who's to come after us, then you're ready for the future.
Good comment, is it?
It is, to me, it's a little bit of a tragedy because
the names are compared to the names that we're speaking about. I get it, but it's the truth.
The one caveat for me wanting Vidal to do well is that I don't want to see an amplification of his cousin's music.
Vidal, thank you so much for being with us. I met Speed, this character Speed, at the Ballon d'Or, and I must admit I didn't know him, but apparently the rest of the world does.
Yeah, he is beyond famous. He's beyond famous. He is, and I hate to even admit it, but when he said Michael Jackson, the kids look at Speed like that.
Michael Jackson.
It's actually quite crazy.
Today, that is the way the world has gone. So if we want to keep a sport popular and alive, it's in our best interest to associate with what the future want to see.
Sure. Vidal, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Terrific stuff. And days away, obviously, we'll build up next week to Jake Paul. Yes, Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua over in Miami, Florida. Adi, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Adi Oladipo with us live. As for you, have a good few days. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for all the messages about our great friend, young Austin Hunter, who was in the studio with us earlier on. All the well-wishing that's come his way. I'll pass it on to him right now as we leave the studio this lunchtime at 1 o'clock.